Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the DTM Esports 2020 Grand Finale. My name is Luke Crane, and I am joined by the ever so wonderful Connery Maddock. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, I'm doing very, very well. I can't wait to get this one started because it is the final day here of the DTM Esports Championship, and everything is still very much on the line, Luke.
Especially now because it is double points, and there's 3 races today as well. So effectively, we're not really halfway through the championship in terms of points earned. So that's going to make it very, very interesting. So not only for qualifying will the double points be there for P1 getting 6 points, P2 getting 4 points, and indeed P3 getting 2 points. It will be double points for the race results. So 50 points up for grabs every single race, and also for the pro drivers as well. So they can earn 12 points for being the top pro driver, 10 points then for second, and so on and so forth. But also, there's a little sneaky surprise we've had up our sleeves. There's a secret track, Connery. Would you like to give or spill the beans? Tell everyone what track we are at today.
Well, we are at for race number 1. We're at Portimao in Portugal. So that is going to be an absolutely fantastic prospect. Of course, a more modern track if you look at when it was built, but it's really in the vein of a lot more of the classic tracks that we get to see.
Well, here is a video explaining all of the championships so you are in the loop.
18 sim racing drivers qualified to fight for the DTM Esports Championship, powered by MediaMarkt's title. The sim racers will compete in randomly drawn teams, which are mentored by one DTM driver or all-star to unleash their true potential. Regularly invited guest drivers will be added each week to the drivers' field. The championship takes place at 3 race locations and ends with a grand finale. Each circuit will be announced the weekend before the race.
Each race event contains 2 times 20-minute plus 1 lap races with a 7-minute qualifying session for each one.
Besides the race points collected according to the DTM Championship pattern, the qualifying positions for first, second and third will also get points. First getting 3, second getting 2, and third getting 1 solitary point. The points are accrued for individual drivers and team scoring.
Each DTM driver or all-star collects additional points for his team. First professional will get 6 points, second will receive 5, third will receive 4, fourth will receive 3, fifth will receive 2, and finally 6th will receive 1 point. That being said, the races in the final are worth double points.
The best team and the best drivers will win an outstanding career boost program. This includes 4 fully packed days at Formula Medicine with mental and athletic training and a full medical checkup. The best driver additionally wins a trophy test and gets a chance to get their racing license. DTM Esports Championship powered by MediaMarkt. Unleash your true potential.
There we go then. Hopefully that makes it all a little bit clearer. But Connery, let's again talk about the format here today. We've got 8 minutes of qualification per race, and then we've got a 20-minute race at each one. So it's no different to what we've had before, but the stakes are even higher.
They absolutely are, and this is a chance for those drivers that perhaps didn't get a great start to this whole entire competition to maybe try and gain a little bit more ground back here in the, final day of the competition. It's going to be absolutely frantic. There are still some drivers with an outside chance at getting themselves near those top couple positions, especially in the sim racing drivers, the sim racing category, as we call it, with Yayovsky, Yashgal, Chian, all looking to have good days here today so they can challenge Keithley and Lona for that top spot.
Yeah, all it's going to take is one of the real top drivers to have a bad race one, and it just leaves the door open for someone to come and get themselves involved here. But let's talk about the prizes as well. You know, they get the chance to test a DTM trophy car. They get to go through basically what a real racing driver goes through.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be an incredible experience for whoever at the end of the day actually gets to go and complete that trophy test if they come top of the Drivers' Championship. And they, like you said in the video, they might get the chance to get themselves their actual racing license. And that's what the goal for a lot of sim racers. They want to use this as a stepping stone to get them into the real world side of racing. And it's a great opportunity provided by DTM to make that happen for someone.
Out of the top 2, there's a few chances for everybody around the championship, but let's have a little look then of round 1, 2, and 3 and a little highlights package for you all.
The DTM Esports Championship 2020. Second, but there's a little nibble up the inside there. Not quite going to come off, but Nunehoff will hold on to P2 for turn 12, lap number 2. So maybe he did have contact between the two, and he's using the pit lane here. It's been superb here from the entire field. It's been very, very enjoyable. And oh, there you go. Ivanov is off.
A bit of frantic action for deeper in the pack, though, in the top 20s. Oh, Scherer deep down the inside, and there's a car spun around.
Well, Ivanov loses out there. Oh, no, there's contact between the two. Doesn't realise he was clear.
Look at this side by side, though, with Yayovsky, with Rudinger. Oh, he's had a bit of a moment. Lots of contact behind, and Yayovsky's around again.
That curb might have killed him. Yarshall for the lead. The Yarshall's going to take P2. Will he get the lead of this race? And now Jack Keithley's trying to get involved here as well. Keithley's going to overtake Lerner. So Lerner's going to go from P2 all the way down to P4. And look at this, Yarshall's got it. And watch, these two have got flyers here. P3, Chian. Already up to P3. Nunehoff trying to make a move for P1. And he's successfully done so here. As they come then through turn 1. Oh, there's one car already all the way around then. So Timo Glock right now is earning... Oh, no, contact there. That's not good at all. And who was that? Was that Scherer? So Pinches then in P2. He's got the inside line then through the second part of the chicane. And wow, very aggressively there. Puts Jack Keithley almost off the circuit. Yeah, Nunehoff's gone. Nunehoff has gone here. Adam Pinches has also gone here. Oh, he's on the circuit. Oh, big smash there. Big crash. Sheldon van der Linden now. He's up in behind Timo Glock. So this is actually a battle for championship points here.
Couple of errors. Oh, yeah, there's... Well, I've jinxed him.
There's all sorts of shenanigans going on here. Cars facing the wrong way at the back end here as well. As they come round Blanchimont, as they come down in towards the bus stop chicane, you see Yuyovsky trying to get involved here as well. Nunehoff late on the brakes here. Will he pin the apex? No, he's overshot it. Lerner will take the lead, and Lerner's waiting for the last second. Keithley's going to get second. Keithley's going to get second. Is he not? Or was it Nunehoff? Yes, it was Keithley. What a finish here, Connery. Moritz Lerner takes the victory. Keithley second. Reliving some of the best moments so far of this championship, and well, we want some more of that, what we had last week at Spa, Connery, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That finish was absolutely glorious. You don't usually see drivers survive unscathed coming through the bus stop at Spa 3 wide on the final lap, and yet somehow those guys were able to make it work. Moritz Lerner coming out on top in that instance, and great job from Keithley in and amongst that entire fracas to come home P2 as well.
So we've had lots of action so far, but let's have a look at the championship standings here. And it is Jack Keithley then that has taken the lead going into the final today. 122 points. Lerner in second with 106. Erhan Yuyovsky is on 71 points. 70 for Yarshall. We've got Chihan then on 55. 46 for Nunehoff. Hassa is on 32, 28 for Stefanko. Vanna is on 25, 24 for Rudinger. Lucas Muller and Pinches on 22 and 16 respectively. We then got Pajic on 9 points, 6 points then for Krippner, and then 1 point for Attila Dinier. Everyone else is yet to score in this championship thus far. But yeah, it's been an absolutely incredible show so far. But like I said, it's all worth double points now. So you can't really throw weeks 1, 2, and 3 out the window. But ultimately, you know, the big points are on offer now.
Yeah, absolutely. This is where everything is going to come to a head, going to be off for these races that we have to come. So it's going to be absolutely incredible. Like I said, I can't wait for it. And we might even see one of those drivers sort of, well, that we don't think is a factor coming into this one with a good couple of results, might be able to challenge.
Well, we did say there was a big surprise for you. We've already announced the track, but let's go and have a look at some video footage of Portimao. I'm vibing. I'm feeling good. Portimao, of course, we actually saw it in Formula 1 this weekend for the first time, I think, ever. Have we been to Portimao before? It was Estoril before that, I'm pretty sure. And it was an unbelievable race. Like, I wasn't expecting it to be exciting. But what are the main characteristics of a circuit such as this for today?
Well, you talk about the elevation changes. That is what makes it look like an incredible circuit. And of course, you know, in recent racing, we've seen that it can deliver as well. Plenty of overtaking opportunities as well. Swing towards the inside or outside of turn 1. There's turn 5 to contend with, as well as the hairpin in the middle of the lap. So that's going to be a good opportunity for drivers to work their way past. But it's a very different challenge to what a lot of these drivers are used to, with the huge amount of elevation changes, with the uphill, downhill braking zones, with the cambered corners. It's going to be a pretty tricky one to even just get a solid lap in all on your own, let alone in and amongst other drivers.
Yeah, these cars are so downforce dependent. And this circuit kind of takes it out of the car's hands ultimately with the way it does indeed change with undulation. It's going to be fantastic to see him come over the tabletop across the start-finish line here at Portimao. Circuit is not really used a lot in sim racing, but we get to see it here today. But let's introduce you then to Thomas, who is now with one of our drivers.
Loud and clear, mate.
Nice. So it's basically in the team championship, all you versus your brother. Is it something you talk about?
Yeah, every time we have a lot of dinner fights because of that, about the DTM Esports, mainly because one brother normally has to go to another simulator for these events. This time I won the discussion, so obviously I'm from the home simulator and my brother's in Munich. But yeah, definitely no holding back tonight. Of course, I want me and my team to win the DTM Esports.
Nice. So you get the home advantage for the grand final. We have 3 different tracks today. Which is your favorite?
I think Portimao was quite a cool selection. Just seeing the Formula 1 race there, it made for some good racing. So yeah, also driving the track now, I feel quite nice. So I think there should be some good racing tonight.
So thank you for that interview, and good luck, Kelvin.
Thank you very much, guys, and have fun watching.
So he won the argument between his brother. Of course, the age-old debate about brothers is the first battle you'll ever have if you have a sibling, that's for sure. And Kelvin wins out there, of course, the elder brother. Didn't have a good weekend at Spa, unfortunately, for him. But what I like about Kelvin is whether it's rain or shine, he will always tweet about it. He'll always be positive, and he's always smiling. A really, really nice lad, not only around sim racing, but the real world of racing as well. Good to have him within this championship. We've got a few more tracks, though, as well here, Connery. We've got the Red Bull Ring Spielberg, and, of course, we've got Hockenheim. And which one are you looking forward to out of those two?
Oh, Hockenheim, at least with a couple of races I've commentated previously on Race Room, it always seems to deliver. And for it to be the final race here today, where potentially absolutely everything is on the line, then that could be an absolutely fantastic venue to finish off. But I'm not complaining about the Red Bull Ring. That is still a fantastic circuit in and of its own as well. It's just a different style.
Yeah, absolutely. They both have like huge DRS action zones. There's going to be plenty of opportunities to overtake big braking zones. But well, let's have another one of our drivers tell us about these tracks, shall we? And let's join Thomas.
Und schauen wir mal, wer das ist. Ha! Who would have expected it? Moritz Löhner. Hey Moritz, how are you?
Hey Thomas, I'm fine, but yeah, a bit nervous.
16 points behind Jack Keithley. I know you know each other pretty good, so there is no bad blood between each other. What is your favorite track for today?
I think it's gotta be Portimao, like the secret track we just got announced 1 hour ago. It's pretty nice to drive, especially with the DTM car, so it's gonna be quite fun, I guess, in the race.
So we saw at least 2 times that you made big overtakes out of a group with 4 cars. Is this a strategy for today, or do you want to fight yourself free and get a little bit of clean air?
Honestly, I want to start at the front, like P1 or P2, P1 especially, but yeah, I think it's going to be tough, but I do not want to overtake too many cars this time, so the goal is to start at the front and stay at the front for the whole race.
So I wish you all the best, but that is something I wish everyone. Yeah, let's keep the focus and get into racing. Thank you, Moritz Löhner.
Thanks.
I think that's the first time in the history of ever covering Moritz Löhner I've seen him nervous. What are you getting from not only him and Kelvin as well? Kelvin looks a bit more relaxed, but what are you getting the vibes from those 2 drivers?
Yeah. Moritz like you said, looked kind of nervous. He said he was kind of nervous. So that's the first time I've ever seen him like that as well. It's a bit out of character for him because he's usually so very calm and, just takes things as they come. But, it's getting to the point now where, he is on the back foot coming into this, but he has ample opportunity to get himself ahead of Keith Lee. It's going to all depend perhaps on him setting the pace here in race 1. If he gets out the gates early, he might be able to mount that massive challenge into the next couple of races, but it needs to start off on the right foot.
Yeah, well, luckily we had a nice little bit of music come across stream there. We're not keeping that on. We need the racing for vibing only today. And well, we've heard from some of the drivers. We've heard from Thomas. Not that many people want to hear from Thomas. And you've heard from us again, if we don't want to hear from us. And now it's time for the racing action. 7 minutes, 30 seconds left to go. We are at Hockenheim, and well, qualifying is underway. So they've got their first, indeed, outlap here. This is where they've got to try and get some warmth into the tyres. And this will be one of the easiest circuits in terms of getting warmth into the tyres, Connery, just because of the nature of the circuit.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see the tyres just trying to work that temperature into the tyres as we get them up to pressure. And, well, Tim Yarshall, well, that's probably a rather optimistic way of trying to get something into the tyres with the big off, but it seems like he's back with us from Team Sheldon van der Linde, heading his way through at the moment. Of course, like you said, you've already said the outlap is pretty crucial here, but it's also trying to find your own space as well, as Yarshall decides to leave this universe, but it seems like we're having a couple of technical problems here.
Yeah, it looks like Yarshall may be having some netcode issues here, or he's trying to practice some gymnastics. His dismounts haven't been the greatest, though, so I'm going to have to give it maybe a 5 out of 10 at this point here. We're on board with Florian Hasser then. He's looking to just try and get ahead of everybody at this point, I think, as well, even though they're all just stopped here. They have just stopped at the final corner, so they're all trying to give each other room for qualifying, and it's kind of a bit of a Monza situation here. That was very messy indeed. A lot of these so-called pro drivers there not really being too aware, but a few drivers are clear here. Jack Keithley, our championship leader, being one of them. 122 points to his name here. Remember, this qualifying session for P1 is worth 6 points. So every single part of this championship is worth something, apart from the practice. They've had 1 hour of practice thus far. And yeah, it looks like we might be heading back to us here. But yeah, they've only been told an hour ago about this circuit. Portimao being, again, one of the easier tracks to learn, I would say, but these drivers would all definitely know what they're on about when it's in terms of racing. Of course, they would have watched it within Formula One on the weekend, but they would have all had a little bit of experience around here as well. Keithley, though, has just gone purple through sector number 1. Sector number 2, we're about to find out here. Again, not many people have got their lap times in. And yeah, people trying to find space on track, Connery, and coming a bit of a mucker.
Yeah, a lot of drivers just, trying to let each other go. No, after you, trying to find their own space, and it's caused a little bit of a situation there in the middle of the warm-up lap for many drivers here in this qualifying session. But like you said, Jack Keithley, one of those drivers that I was able to get out ahead and in his own bit of clear air as well. Has a couple of cars further down the road, but nothing that's going to be affecting him too much. Once again, goes purple through Sector 2 as he heads his way through the right-handers here in this third and final sector. In that Audi, the Brit, what can he do as he heads his way out the final corner and with that run all the way to the start-finish line? Nunninghoff sets the first lap time here in qualifying, but Keithley across the line. What is his baseline?
Wow, it wasn't good enough. It's only half a tenth behind Nunninghoff, and actually his first sector was just beaten behind him as well. So he was a full tenth off of whoever just took the purple sector. It doesn't actually tell us on the timing sheets as to who was the quickest here. So unfortunately, we're not getting the relevant information. But Nunninghoff then has taken provisional pole. Jack Keithley, leader of the championship. He'll still be nervous, Connery, but how important is it for him to get a stellar performance in race number 1? It doesn't necessarily have to be a P1, but I think if he can get anywhere from P4 up towards P1, his nerves, they will just be, they'll just be completely wrung out at that point, and he should be a bit more comfortable.
Yeah, the mentality is so important in these sorts of high-pressure situations. You can't be making silly mistakes because you're nervous. You need to get your heart rate down. You need to be able to focus on the task ahead. So that's the situation for Keithley. It's the same situation for Lohner as well. They just need to get off on a good start here, maybe get themselves a good spot on the grid to start, and they'll be plain sailing all the way. But the other drivers definitely won't make it easy for them, especially Nunninghoff, currently sitting in what is going to be P6 in terms of the championship right now, still has a very outside chance at winning here today, and putting it on pole position is his first step on his big old journey.
Absolutely. Jack Keithley, though, has just put one of the best middle sectors I think I've ever seen around here, because he's just put his 1.5 tenths up in total. So he gained 2.5 tenths through the middle sector. And wow, look at that, 2 tenths in total.
Whoa.
And he will take provisional pole. And look at this, Moritz Lerner then will take second by 3 thousandths of a second. Stefanko, though, has just gone purple through sector number 1. Is there going to be time to be found through sector 2? That's the question here. My 2 outside chances today were Yayovsky and Sheehan. I think if those 2 can find a little bit of form here, again, it's one thing being fast, but being consistent is another thing. That's one thing they struggled with across this whole championship thus far. But you only have to be consistent for one day today. And it's all double points. So that for me is in their favor.
Speaking of drivers with an outside chance, though, Yarshel going second place here in qualifying for the moment. So he's been able to pull that one out of the bag. But I do agree with you. Yayovsky still has an okay shot as well. We know how his race pace is usually, considering at Spa, he pulled off that miracle comeback from the very back of the grid in race 2, I believe it was, to get himself a top 5 finish in the end in that one. So that was brilliant to watch, but hopefully he can start a little bit further up the grid here today so that he doesn't have too far to charge.
Stefanko, P2, onto the front row of the grid then. So him and Yarsha have split the 2 championship leaders. Keithley is in dreamland right now if he can hold on to this. We're looking a bit further back here. Lucas Muller. Chihan's going really quickly here, but his middle sector was not great here. So around the final corner, he will come. And I think it's going to be tight here, but I think he might get another lap time.
Yeah.
Across the line he comes. It's just about going to have enough time, I think, here. So he's gone up to P7, but he will cross the line with, I reckon, about half a second to go here if it's an absolute flyer. So big opportunity here then for Chihan, whereas no one else behind him has that opportunity. So he'll know that he'll be the last one to cross the line. But now it's got to give absolutely everything. Of course, in sim racing, the beauty of sim racing is if you bin it, you will get a free new car after this session. So again, he will try his level best then to leave everything here out in Portimao in qualifying number 1. It is Keithley, though, 1:30.522. That's an unbelievable time here. Stefanko now 3 tenths back. It's very, very close between, 6th position up to 2nd. It's about 600ths of a second or 700ths of a second. And then Keithley's 3 tenths quicker than everybody. So we're talking about nerves. What nerves?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what you love to see when it comes to qualifying, just really stamping your authority early on this evening, and it really puts a big scare, a big frightening moment. Speaking of frightening moment, though, Xian, big amount of oversteer coming through the right there. He's slow through Sector 1, slow through Sector 2 as well, so this is not going to be an improvement for Xian. So it looks like it's going to be the order for the start of the race. Jack Keithley, that is a stellar lap time to put in pole.
I think the big factor here is, of course, with the point system in qualifying, normally it's 3 points for a pole position, but it's 6 points here for Jack Keithley. Morris Lerner scored 0 points then. So as it stands, what was the championship lead? 16 points? So now it's going to be up to 22 already. So already he's gained on his championship rival. So Lerner under some severe pressure.
Yeah, absolutely. He really needs to try and capitalize on race pace now coming into this one. Of course, there's going to be ample opportunity for him to try and get by. Of course, you have that run out of the final corner all the way in towards turn 1 where you can really deploy the DRS and try and get a slingshot pass. But of course, all the other drivers can use that to defend as well. So it's going to rely on the disparity between the DRS activations, which is what we've seen in a good couple of races so far this season. Who conserves their DRS activations for later on in the race, and who uses it early on to be able to get that early on-track advantage.
It's a really good point. I think the big factor here is it's a downhill braking zone into turn number 1. So cold brakes, cold tires. Who is going to be last of the late breakers? Who's going to take that chance? Of course, it is the finale. So, it's leave everything out on the table here. Of course, there's 2 races to go, but there's an opportunity here for these drivers. And, Lerner has to make a move, surely.
Yeah, he needs to be authoritative on this start. He needs to be having a go-forward attitude right from the drop of the green flag. And if he doesn't, he's going to be stuck there just sort of a couple of positions behind Jack Keithley. And those are the couple of positions he can't afford to lose in a championship fight this close.
Yeah, could not agree with you more. But we are very, very close, ladies and gentlemen. We have had 3 rounds thus far in this championship. We've got 3 races to go, all worth double points. So effectively 6 races worth of points. So very, very exciting indeed. Jack Keithley, who was under a little bit of pressure by being the championship leader, he's got a target on his back. Well, He is in prime position here with a pole position and the big 6 points extending his championship lead. But we are very close to that race. That's what we're here for, the racing action. But first of all, let's go and check some messages from our partners.
In der Boxengasse werden die letzten Vorkehrungen getroffen. Volle Konzentration bei den Piloten. Die Spannung steigt ins Unermessliche. Ein fulminanter Start. 2 Piloten liefern sich ein knallhartes Kopf-an-Kopf-Rennen. Ich glaube, mein Schwein pfeift. Sie schmeißt den Turbo an, hebt ab und fliegt als Erste ins Ziel. Auf die Pole Position. Bring deine Gaming-Skills auf ein neues Level mit dem neuen Logitech G923 Rennlenkrad. Jetzt online auf mediamarkt.de/DTM. Also gib Gummi, Mediamarkt.
Here it is, then, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for the racing action to begin. We're at Algarve, but we can't go into the race without some predictions from me and Connery. Not that we've got any predictions right so far this season. But who are you going for then, Connery?
I'm going to go for the easy option, especially considering the qualifying performance. Jack Heatley up by 3/10 over the rest of the field. I think with that margin, he'll be able to pull away at the very front. So I'm saying Keithley's going to take race win number 1.
Yeah, do you know what? I'm going to agree with you on that. As you can see, qualifying is up on your screen right now. Keithley indeed gets those 6 points. And, well, the big factor here is that Lerner is only P5. And do you know what? I'm going to go for an outsider. I'm going to go for Team Glock. I'm going to go for Yayovsky. I think Yayovsky is going to get the victory here. He seems to have a lot more race pace than anybody else. Well, not anybody else, but in terms of his improvement from qualifying to race, I think his percentage is a lot higher. So I'm going for, again, it should be Keithley here, judging by his qualifying pace. I'm just going to go for the fairy tale story. But it should be exciting all the same, though, Connery, right?
Yeah, absolutely, especially maybe for those last couple of podium positions as well. Very much up for grabs. Lona's looking to try and get go forward. Same with Yayovsky, a little bit deeper in the pack as well. He has his own championship fight to be concerned about, to try and mix it in with those top 2 cars in the point standings. So, yeah, this is going to be a bit of a sign of things to come here, at least as far as today is concerned. How this race 1 goes will dictate how race number 2 and race number 3 turn out.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like if Keithley goes out and gets a victory in race number 1, I think we're going to see a lot of chances taken at the Red Bull Ring in race number 2, and especially at Hockenheim in race number 3. Again, it is all worth double points here today. With Lerner only qualifying 5th, he scored 0 points so far today already, whereas Keithley has got 6 on the board. But, you know, there is an individual championship we spoke about, but the pressure of representing a team is something like no other. I've got this experience this year racing for Team Woo. Shout out to Team Woo, where losing or winning as a driver with a group of people is so much more fulfilling, and there's so much more pressure than when you're on your own.
Yeah, it's a different kind of pressure as well, because you know, you can deal with the usual sort of pressure of you having high expectations for yourself, and if you don't meet those expectations, you're going to feel pretty bad. But when you have other people involved and you're feeling like you're disappointing other people if you don't get a good result, then that is a completely different beast, and it affects you in very different ways as well. So it's going to be interesting to see if there's going to be any of that factoring in to this. But knowing most racing drivers, they're mostly for themselves when it comes to situations like this, rather than the team situation. But we'll just have to see how it turns out.
Also, we've got the 6 pro drivers as well, the team captains, and they score points now. As of last week, they started scoring points, and straight away into the next round, they get double points. So it's worth 12 points finishing as the lead pro driver. Will we see a change in their styles because of that? Or is it going to be kind of normal service resume, just keep it in check and see what happens as the race progresses?
Yeah, that's probably the more conservative option, and would probably be the option I would go with if I was one of those drivers, because you know a lot of the drivers are going to be aggressive in these last 3 races, because double points are an offer. Championship will be decided at the end of this evening, so you could potentially pick up a couple of positions from other drivers having incidents.
Here's the grid then, ladies and gentlemen. It's Jack Keithley and Martin Stefanko, P1 and P2. We've got then Yarshall and Yayovsky in P3 and P4. Lerner and Nuninghoff on the third row of the grid in 5th and 6th position. We've then got Rudinger and Sheehan in 7th and 8th spot. Leonard Krippner and Marco Pajic in P9 and P10. We've got Jonas Vanner and Florian Hasser in 11th and 12th position. Lucas Muller and Attila Digne in 13th and 14th position. 15th and 16th is Michael Steven and Sheldon van der Linde. Cem Bolak-Bassi then and Sheldon van der Linde in 17th and 18th spot. Lucas Auer and Fabio Scherer in 19th and 20th. Adam Pinches and Carlo Luciano Bedin at 21st and 22nd. Roman Ivanov rounds out your 23 driver grid. And well, what a grid we have. And we haven't spoken about Cem Bolak-Bassi, one of the best all-rounders in terms of sim racing in the world, not only currently, but has been for the last few years. Could he be someone who springs a surprise during this race?
Yeah, never doubt him. I'm not sure in terms of how much experience in this type of racing he has, but seems comfortable in every single car that gets thrown at him as we are underway with the gridding procedure. And we'll get our first double points race underway in just a couple of moments' time, Luke. This is going to be awesome.
Oh, I can feel the roar, and I think that's the nerves in my stomach, to be honest, but I can see it. I can feel the roar. I'm feeling good here. It is going to be Jack Keithley on pole position. We're just waiting for them all to ready up on the grid. We'll get the lights up onto your screen here, and then anything can go. I'm super excited for this. 3 races for your viewing pleasure at home today. Double points on offering. Jack Keithley on pole position. Stefanko in second. We're about to go green light racing here then at Portimao, Algarve here in Portugal. And we go green here, and actually P1 and P2 have both got a sensational start here. And actually, I think Moritz Lerner may have just got himself up in position. Yes, he's P4, so he's already up P4. He's actually side by side then for a battle for what would be P3. Yes, Lerner up 2 spots already here. Yarshall with a pretty good start then in second position, but it's Keithley. Keithley with a wonderful start here, and he's just got to ward off that pressure. Look at Lerner. He's made 2 overtakes here, but he's under pressure from 2 drivers in behind. And actually, they've dropped off the pace here. Moritz Lerner then with the start of Dreams. Stefanko and Yuyovsky, those are battling for 4th position right now, 5th and 4th position now, respectively. And Stefanko actually retakes position 3 wide. And so I think Nuninghoff is just sent from the inside there like Danny Ricciardo. It didn't look like the end product of Danny Ricciardo, I'm not going to lie, but ultimately they did have a little bit of a coming together. But at the start of this race here, Jack Keithley has got the start he needed, and well, Lerner has already got a couple of positions from that deficit.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the most ideal start you probably could have hoped for if you're Moritz Lerner, disposing of 2 drivers, getting himself up into P3. There's a bit more action happening further back in the pack. Sheldon van der Linde has everything happening ahead of him at the moment. Pajic and Digne are fighting side by side with those 2 BMWs directly in front of the South African. Oh, there's a big pile up.
Yeah, big pile up there. Again, not too sure who's involved, and actually it might be easier to start with who's not involved in that one. That was a big one there, and actually Sheldon van der Linde was the lead pro driver, and there's big carnage then as they come through the final sector. So Sheldon van der Linde now under pressure from Kelvin van der Linde. So Kelvin on the inside is going to take the lead here, and actually it's Lucas Auer. So Lucas Auer now is the lead pro driver, and everybody's coming through at this point here. The only one that's not is Scherer. Scherer's down the order as it stands, but it is Lucas Auer then has taken the top position of the pro drivers. Kelvin van der Linde then is behind him, and actually Carlo Luciano Bedin has just put himself then in between Kelvin van der Linde and Lucas Auer. Incident involving Krippner under investigation. I can only assume that there's not another driver on there because there was a few involved. That was absolute carnage, but it is the front 3 here of Keithley, Yarshall, Lerner, as now we do have DRS indeed enabled here, and I think you'll find that Carlo Luciano Bedin's not only got Kelvin van der Linde, but he's actually just put himself ahead of Lucas Auer as well. Sheldon van der Linde then just recovering nicely now, and a bit of an instant bystander there for Sheldon. He had actually improved from 16th to 15th spot, and then there was just all sorts of carnage in front of him, and he just couldn't avoid it.
Yeah, absolutely. Just trying to pick that one lane through the absolute mess that was in that middle sector going towards on that first lap. So don't exactly blame him there. They're completely the innocent bystander, and unfortunately he's lost a couple of positions as a result, but everyone seems to have gotten back going relatively okay. Still actually quite close together, nose to tail, inside the sort of bottom half of the field here, in where we see Lucas Auer in P18 at the moment. So everyone seems to have gotten themselves back onto the grey stuff and pointed in the right direction.
Yeah, Sheldon just is a bit of in sim racing, especially, he's a bit of a magnet for trouble. Unfortunately, we had this at the race for home challenge earlier this year, and we're seeing it again with this DTM Esports Championship. Really unfortunate though, but he's still in the race. He's chasing down Lucas Auer. We're on board with Lucas Auer right now, and now we're on board with Sheldon van der Linde. But he's used all of his fortune in the DTM series itself in real life. He's managed to get 2 wins this season, an unbelievable season for the BMW driver. And again, he's trying to look for that move. And again, look at his profile picture there. He's always just like his brother, always smiling. Although, big tank slapper, bit of curb there. It's always better to be on 4 wheels around the first couple of corners here at Algarve. And well, he's managed to recover just about here, and now he's under pressure from Cem Bolek-Bassi. And if there's one driver you don't want behind you, it's Cem Bolek-Bassi.
Yeah, he can be pretty aggressive when push comes to shove in these sorts of races. And we'll get to see him here today. Big slide from that BMW through the left, though. So important to try and keep that in check, and you're not wasting away too much of the rubber. Meanwhile, we look further forward then, just outside the top 10. Here's Lucas Vanner then, as he tries to follow onto the back of Muller to try and get a top 10 spot. Looks to the inside, but that might be more of a defensive move because Pajic was having a look.
Yeah, absolutely there. Pajic having a little nibble himself. He's dropped 2 positions here, so he must have been involved in a melee earlier on as well. As we're on board then with Sheldon van der Linde, and he's tried to make a move up the inside, gets the door well and truly closed on him. He can hold on to that position just about. And Sheldon van der Linde looks like a racy son of a gun today, that's for sure. And he is, like we said earlier on, don't leave anything out here in Algarve or Red Bull, Hockenheim. He certainly isn't doing that. He is giving everything today, which is fantastic to see. And what is awesome to see is he's actually battling with another pro driver in Lucas Auer. Lucas Auer has not had the best fortune either this season so far, but these two have still got their cars in one piece. They're looking good here. Sheldon van der Linde pulls over the right-hand side, over the tabletop, down in towards that downhill braking zone here at turn 1. And wow, Lucas Auer again closes the door onto the apex. Sheldon has to back out of that potential move, and Cem Bolek-Bassi is just thinking, come on guys, have a little coming together, give me a couple of freebies, as now it becomes the cork in the bottle. And it's normally one driver that's a cork in the bottle, but it's both of them right now. They're side by side as they exit turn 4, and they've got the long run down in towards the hairpin here then. Cem Bolek-Bassi trying to make a move on Lucas Auer through the middle here. No way he's going to make it through the middle, is he? Late on the brakes. Sheldon van der Linde runs a little bit wide. Lucas Auer just gets on the power nice and early, but Cem Bolek-Bassi, we told you don't want him behind you. He has made the move here, but I tell you what, Sheldon van der Linde is just retaking the spot.
Yeah, great recovery there from Sheldon van der Linde, but that was vintage Cem Bolek-Bassi there, just sticking it down the middle, forcing the other drivers to react. A bit of a slide coming off the corner there in the traction zone. We have news though, Emre Cihan's 6-second slowdown, cutting across Krippner and spinning him on lap number 1, so that is not ideal for Emre Cihan, who had an outside shot at this championship coming into this, but that's going to put a huge damper on it.
Yeah, absolutely. Great stuff by Sheldon. Again, he is fighting for everything today. Pajic then in behind Vanner as it stands, and Muller. So Pajic has dropped down a couple of positions, but look at the lead then already here. Half a second for Jack Keithley. Although we've got a move here. Nuninghoff trying to battle for position with Yayovski. Yayovski going to hold it around the outside, gets squeezed off there. And this is proper DTM action right now. Yayovski has to back out. The Macedonian then maybe looking for a little bit of a push there on Nuninghoff, just to put him off ever so slightly. Rubbing his racing, as they say, as they come through 4 down towards 5. And again, it's always these two are always near or around about the front, and they've cost each other the chance of winning races so often because of them running side by side. Oh no, Yayovski's gone. Yayovski all the way around. He's tried to put the power down a little bit too quickly. And unfortunately, with these cars, they will just let go so easily. I think Yayovski may have got himself going again down in P11 here. Pinches and Digne battling for position. And actually, Pajic up to P9, so he's gone from 12th to 9th in the space of a couple of corners. So not too sure what's happened there. Yayovski has got himself going again. He had some misfortune at Zolder, and now he's had some misfortune here at Algarve. Back to the front, though. We'll talk about Keithley and Yash. It's now 6/10 of a second. And actually, Lerner's dropping off the pace here hugely as well. Because look at this. This is Digne versus Digne versus Pinches. There's always a Hungarian, as I quite often say, and Pinches then trying to swing it around the outside. And this is classic stuff then from these two drivers. I think you'll find that Digne may just about have the mark here, but then nope, Pinches proves me wrong once again and retakes P12. And these two aren't even battling for points here. A bit of a mistake there, actually, by Pinches, and Digne now into the slipstream as they come up towards the start-finish line here at 12 minutes to go.
You can see that Dinya was looking for the up and under, but he's got a good run out of the final corner now, so he's able to challenge his competitor down in towards turn number 1. But let's have a look back at the race lead, because Tim Yarshall's making some progress over Jack Keithley. It's Audi versus BMW in terms of the manufacturers right at the very front of the field here, and two drivers that definitely have themselves a decent shot at the championship. Keithley very much in the driving seat on that topic, but he needs to keep Yarshall behind him, otherwise he'll hemorrhage too many points.
Absolutely, yeah. It's not going to be the greatest day in the world, that's for certain. But again, there's a couple of races to go here. But Jack Keithley, leader of this championship, just doing everything he needs to do, isn't he, at this point? You know, Yarshall is keeping him under pressure here. And even if Yarshall gets really, really close to Keithley, he doesn't really need to battle him here. He could take P2 and still earn more points than Lerner. And yeah, he'll be skipping off down towards that rainbow very, very quickly. We're on board with Vanna then. Vanna just in P11. He's in behind Yayovsky. Yayovsky then has actually made that move on Vanna, so he's making his way back through here. But the tyres on these cars, they go off so quickly, and with a spin from Yayovsky, that is going to be huge for him later on in this race.
Yeah, it is. So he's going to be struggling in the final couple of minutes of this race. It should still have some life in them at this point, but it's the last couple of laps is going to be a major problem for him. We're riding on board with Dinya. You can see his camera in the bottom right as well, the live view of him in his home and on his sim rig. Racing here today, P13 at the moment, which is pretty decent considering the history of Pro Driver results in this one, and he might have more on the cards as well, considering the gap further forward to Pinches.
Yeah, Pinches then in P12, as you can see, 15 seconds off the lead totally here. We're on board then with Florian Hasser. He's trying to hold on to a P5. Stefanko, who dropped down the order, of course, from P2 on the grid, now down to P6. Did not get off the line well here at all. But yeah, he's trying to recover as well. Pajic, again, he's now P8 and he's chasing down Rudinger. So Pajic has gone from P10 down to 12. And now he's gone all the way back up then into P8 here. We're on board with Kelvin van der Linde, who is between 18th and 19th right now. It looks like the HUD doesn't want to make his mind up at this point. But I think you'll find he is in 18th. Up ahead of him is his brother Sheldon van der Linde, but they've had Chen Bollock-Bassi with them the whole time. These three just trying to make their own race at this point, but Sheldon van der Linde has been able to drive away. What's happened to Lucas Auer? Auer's down in P22. So as it stands then, Sheldon van der Linde is the lead driver from the Pro Drivers. Kelvin van der Linde is just disconnected by the looks of things as well, which is not good. That's what happened to Sheldon last week. And, well, Sheldon was racing from where Kelvin is today, so wondering whether there might be a tech issue or an internet issue there where they're based. But then back to the leaders here. And actually, Lerner may have saved something here, but now he is closing back in on P2.
Yeah, he is. That gap was sitting around about 2.5 seconds at one point, and he's been able to make some good progress over the last couple of laps to make sure that this gap doesn't get too far away from him. He's actually brought it down to about 1.1 seconds heading their way across the start-finish line. So Lerner with some late race speed here, maybe has conserved some DRS activations from earlier on in the race to use at this point, and he's really been able to close the gap. So that is a positive sign there for Moritz Lerner in his championship fight. Meanwhile, Martin Stefanko started front row here today, but unfortunately got a bit of a nightmare of a start and currently resides in P6.
Yeah, I'm not going to say that he has to win this race as Lerner. I think he has to come at least second. Otherwise, again, Keithley is going to extend his championship lead anyway. Obviously, he's going to be gunning for the race victory. We're on board with Stefanko once again, who wants to kind of make up for the poor start here, really, in this race. Unfortunately, it's just not worked out for him in race trim. He's right behind Florian Hasser. Hasser's one of the very best in the world within race room. So it's not going to be an easy picking overtake, that's for sure here. Stefanko knows he's got that one-lap pace, tries to make a move here. And there's a kind of two entrances through this double right-hander. But unfortunately, if you do take the very inside line, you lose a bit of time as Stefanko backed out of that opportunity and decided, you know what, I'm going to make it very, very easy on myself. And here we go then, the battle for P1 as they are all basically pushing each other through the penultimate corner here. Here we go, round that final right-hander who's left some DRS in the tank here. Jack Keithley leads, he's led this whole race, but now all of a sudden he's got pressure from indeed Yarshall and Moritz Lerner. Lerner maybe giving Yarshall a little bit of a push through here, and I think you'll find that Yarshall may take the lead of this race. He is going to take the lead, and Keithley's not going to be too worried about Yarshall. He's going to be worried about his teammate from Williams Esports. Again, are not teammates within this championship. He's going to be worried about Moritz Lerner, and well, danger averted here through turn 1, through turn 2 and turn 3. And again, now this is an opportunity for Yarshall. I don't think Keithley, if he gets the opportunity, he's really going to attack him too much here, lose too much time. The one he's got to be worried about is obviously Lerner. So now we're going to see the battle for P2 really, really come to fruition.
Yeah, absolutely. Great job still, though, from Yarshall to sweep around the outside, coming through turn 1. He's got to run for the hills now and let these two behind him sort out their differences, as they're in more of a direct fight for the championship than Yarshall is. But Jack Heatley has to be looking in his wing mirrors now. He knows that Lona has, well, if he's been paying attention, Lona has had some great laps over the last couple to put himself in this position. So Lona, what can he do now from this point forwards? It's about 6 minutes and 40 seconds left remaining in this one, so still a decent amount of time in the grand scheme of things. Over a quarter of the race still to go here, so some time for Lona to try and plan his move.
Yeah, do you know what I like about these cars? We've had the 2016 cars for so long now within Race Room, and with DRS, you could overtake 3 cars in a straight if you were within sort of a second. It was really, really powerful, but with this, it's a lot more about the drivers. As you can see there, Yarshall was able to get the move done on Keithley, but Lerner wasn't able to get the move done on both of them. So yeah, it's great to see that DRS is a factor, but it's not a huge factor like it used to be or previously in the other class of car. But it is Yarshall that leads then. It is Keithley second by 0.4 of a second as we come towards the last 5 minutes of this race. Lerner third. We've then got Nuninghoff in fourth. We're on board then with Vanna, who is currently in a Yayovsky and Pinches sandwich, a Macedonian and Hungarian sandwich. I bet that would taste great. And actually, he's just going to lose the position there. He's no longer, he's the bread now, although he's just gone for the old whoop-de-wop and successfully defended that position.
Yeah, absolutely. Great little defense there from Jonas Vanna to maintain that 11th spot. But I think this fight definitely isn't over, and Pinches definitely going to be looking for that position over the next couple of laps. Meanwhile, Stefanko looking to try and make a little bit of progress on a slight recovery drive after his poor start. Was started on the front row, P2, now resides in P6, but Hassa not too far off of the front bumper of that BMW, so certainly a chance for Stefanko to break into the top 5.
Yeah, Stefanko, it's the trouble here, I think he's probably got the pace to be running at the front here, but to try and get past someone like Hassa is almost impossible. Like, he makes that car, it's a wide car as it is, but he makes it so much wider. Just positions his car in a perfect position in every braking zone, forcing the driver behind to either lose time or just not be able to make an opportunity for themselves. Yayovsky now has dropped right down the order. So again, this is where the tyres really now will be screaming at him, of course, via that spin. Again, you've got to nurse these tyres at the best of times. So indeed, if you have a spin, that's not going to be helping out. Jack Keithley, by the way, I think maybe, look at he's retaking the lead here, and Lerner's going to come through on Yarshall as well. So Lerner's up to P2, and here we go then. Not only are these P1 and P2 in the championship, they're about to go P1 and P2 in the race. And well, are we going to go and have the championship lead cut down by Lerner? Lerner needs to get ahead. We've got actually an incident involving Yayovsky under investigation there. Jajovsky actually is under investigation. That's a whole different driver entirely. So yeah, I don't know. Yayovsky, I don't know. He's like a secret driver, or Yayovsky's actually just put out there like a smoke screen. It's like, no, it's not me. It's my twin brother, Jajovsky. But yeah, as it stands there, Florian Hassa, and they've moved up a position here. Surely, yeah, they have. So what's happened here? Who's dropped down? Rudinger, or was it Vanna? Jonas Vanna has dropped down.
Could be.
They were back in full 5th position.
Yeah, absolutely. So interesting there. Stefanko
Lerner
had a
Yarshall under investigation. Okay. So there may have been a bit of shenanigans then between Lerner and Yarshall. Lerner, of course, has gone up to P2 here, and this could be huge for the championship. So we'll get a word on what the stewards are indeed going to do about that incident. But this could have huge ramifications as how this championship goes down. If Lerner gets a penalty, he, potentially if he gets like a 5-second penalty or a 6-second penalty, that could throw him down as far as 5th position. So yeah, it might not even be him at fault here. I'm just talking hypothetically about the championship. It could be Yarshall at fault here. We don't know. But Jack Keithley now leading by 0.2 of a second as Lerner not quite close enough and playing the patience game here. And at this point of the race, it might be quite beneficial to be, maybe 1 lap to go, then be in 2nd position. And he's just biding his time right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And, well, we had the steward's decision come through. Martin Stefanko drive-through penalty for ignoring slowdown warnings. So Stefanko's going to have to take a trip down on towards pit lane. But Lona, he's hoping for a trip onto the top step of the podium at the moment because he's all over the back of Keithley.
Oh, Stefanko has got a drive-through penalty for ignoring slowdown warnings. Oh, it's the worst. So yeah, you get 3 warnings, and if you ignore them for 3 times, it is unfortunately you lose. You get a drive-through penalty, and that's effectively with a 20-minute sprint race. You race over. Cem Bolek-Bassi here battling with Lucas Auer. Bolek-Bassi around the outside of turn 4, and he's just about going to get that done there. And again, it's another race just got away from Lucas Auer. He's got a couple more to. Oh, he's got a drive-through penalty as well for ignoring slowdown, so that's not good then for Lucas Auer. I don't think it's going to drop him down to where Fabio Scherer is, but you never know. Here's Vanna then. Vanna trying to come back through in behind Pinches. Lucas Muller, by the way, up to P8. Pajic up to 7th after starting 10th on the grid. It's great stuff there by Marco. Rudinger, 6th position. Stefanko is in 5th. Hassa and Yarshall 4th and 3rd. And then we've got Lerner 6th, 10th behind Jack Keithley. 1 minute 38 seconds ago. I'm not too sure what the leaders are. Are they crossing the line now? That will be whether we'll be able to figure out if it's the last lap or not. So it all depends where the leaders are right now as to whether we will indeed have another lap or not. But as it stands, actually, Lerner has been given a slowdown for sure. 100%. Oh, and that could be it for his championship. He's been given a slowdown for the incident between him and Yarshall, and that has put him down to P6. He's going to be under pressure from Pajic, and Jack Keithley has just been handed, well, he's basically got one hand on the trophy now.
Yeah, absolutely, but it's not over yet. We've still got the rest of the minute remaining of this race, and of course 2 further races and 2 further qualifying sessions to go. Anything can happen between now and then, although it was deemed as a racing incident between Lerner and Yarshall in turn 1.
Controversial then. There's definitely a penalty handed out to Lerner. Lerner was definitely slowing down, but it said it's a racing incident on our screen. So maybe that was an error there, and the wrong message should be sent up on screen. But we'd like to think there's no controversy within the championship. But that is not. Lerner's going to be furious, and more than likely with himself ultimately. If he's caused an incident, he's caused an incident. There's no 2 ways about it. Jack Keithley then. Oh, Stefanko's got to drive through then for track limits and ignoring slowdowns. We've already seen that though. But it is, as we thought it might be, Jack Keithley is coming across around the final corner here. Do we have one more lap remaining? That's the question though. And I think actually we might get another lap here. It's going to be very, very tight. Will he slow down sufficiently enough? He goes across the line here. And well, with 1 second remaining on the clock, do we have one more lap? I think we've got one more lap here.
He's not celebrating yet. He looks as confused as we are. Oh, he is celebrating now.
He's confused like we are. He's celebrating now as a race victory. It was really close to the line. I don't know what's going on. He's put his hands up there to think, is it the race over? I'm not too sure. Yeah, he's buzzing. Okay, there's the confirmation. And Jack Keithley is going to take race number 1's victory then. And well, the story is really between, of course, Jack Keithley winning the race, but Moritz Lerner got that penalty. He could have battled for the lead of the race, but unfortunately he's ended up, what, 5th position? Not good for race 1 for him.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really caused a bit of a rift between himself and Jack Keithley in terms of the points now. Still in 2nd place, I believe, in the standings after the qualifying and race number 1. But it's going to be a bit of a mountain to climb from this point forwards. Yarshall, though, having a very good race up into P number 2 at the very end there. So his outside shot is still an outside shot, but at least he's making some progress. But yeah, Lerner, that's not how you wanted to start off your evening.
No, absolutely not. And I would like to apologize to everybody at home in terms of the not too sure whether the race had ended or not. You had the same timing on the screen as what we had. And yeah, it was just a little bit crazy, the ending there. But Jack Keithley has indeed taken the win in race number 1 and the pole position. It's a perfect start for Jack Keithley. But it looks like now we're going to go and see some messages from our partners.
In der Boxengasse werden die letzten Vorkehrungen getroffen. Volle Konzentration bei den Piloten. Die Spannung steigt ins Unermessliche. Ein fulminanter Start. 2 Piloten liefern sich ein knallhartes Kopf-an-Kopf-Rennen. Ich glaube, ein Schwein pfeift. Sie schmeißt den Turbo an, hebt ab und fliegt als Erste ins Ziel. Auf die Pole Position. Bring deine Gaming-Skills auf ein neues Level mit dem Asus ROG Zephyrus G15 Gaming Notebook. Jetzt online auf mediamarkt.de/DTM. Also gib Gummi, Mediamarkt.
Welcome back then, ladies and gentlemen. Wow, I'm just a bit breathless there. There's so many incidents, especially lap number 1. I think we really saw the nerves from the drivers today.
Yeah, I think so too. A bit of a cluster in the middle of that first lap, affecting drivers sort of in the mid pack and back. A lot of the pro drivers affected by that in their own little championship as well. And of course, by extension, that also affects the team's championship. So I'll be very interested to see the updated points in just a couple of moments' time once we get those prepared. But yeah, absolutely fantastic stuff from Keith Lee, like you said before the break. Did all that he needed to do here in qualifying 1 and race number 1 to really give himself the best chance of taking the championship at the end of the day.
Yeah, Stefanko was the big disappointment for me. Started on the front row of the grid, fell back really early on, and then just got stuck behind Hasse, who had a very good performance, like just made that car as wide as possible. But it looks like then we are going to be looking at the podium here then. So it is Jack Keithley that takes P1. Tim Yarshall takes second position, and he's been a little bit of a standout star this season, Tim Yarshall. Maybe his announcement within the esports world as a real top-end driver. And then Florian Hasse does take P3 after keeping Stefanko behind him for the rest of that, for the whole of that race. He deserves a podium just for that.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a great job there for Hasse as he's able to gain 15 points in his championship hunt then, as we look at those as the results of race number 1. Keithley, Yarshall, Hasse, podium in that order. Rudinger 4th, Lona down to 5th place. So he was at risk of sitting in 6th place, but he's able to get popped back past Marko Pejic to recover at least 2 more points there in his championship fight. But he's going to need a lot more than 2 points over the next 2 races.
Sheldon van der Linde was the lead driver of the pro drivers. He'll get 12 points for Team Sheldon. Next up then, I believe would have been Lucas Auer. Then we've got Sheldon van der Linde and Fabio Scherer. So Sheldon van der Linde has scored the big points here this week. He'll be happy with that. Again, there's still 2 races to come though, so plenty of time for these things to change. But yeah, it's all about Jack Keithley. I think we've given him enough credit here, really. A lot of pressure on his shoulders, of course, leading the championship coming in today. Him knowing that one mistake is going to let another driver in because it was really tight at the top and it being double points, but he's got pole position. He's taken P1. Well, he doesn't feel pressure.
Yeah, maximum points possible coming out of the first, I guess, round of this final. 56 points on offer. Of course, you saw a couple of different figures on the graphic, but you know those points are doubled coming into this final day, and we are off and away for qualifying number 2.
Yes, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to race number 2. And well, now we head to Austria. We're at the Red Bull Ring. We're at Spielberg Circuit here for what will be another frantic race. As Stefanko, well, he's all over the show right there. He had an unbelievable qualifying in race number 1. And well, that's not the best starts here for qualifying for race number 2. But yeah, Spielberg, fast and furious. You thought Portimao was fast and furious. There is no let up whatsoever. Some really, really long braking zones as well, especially into turn 1. Turn 2. In turn 1, you can really extend the circuit as well out onto the AstroTurf. And we're seeing again in qualifying, everyone trying to find their own space here. And with only being 8 minutes, it becomes very difficult. But it looks like Keithley, once again, has managed to keep out of all of the melee, and he will have some free track to work with.
Yeah, just backing up a couple of the cars behind him as there's cars coming out of rate of knots coming into the penultimate corner there. There's someone that actually had to go all the way out into the runoff to avoid those cars basically near stationary in the middle of the circuit. I personally don't like to see that, but it's the way that we have things here in these qualifying sessions. Keithley on a hot lap now, and like you said, clear air ahead of him, so it shouldn't be a problem for him to set his banker lap.
Nope, indeed he's on it now. So this is his first attempt here as we make the long run up towards the Hamilton/Rosberg corner. Here, turn 2. And they now take another long run then down in towards turn number 3. You still see cars then in the distance trying to get some warmth into the tyres. Again, it's not one of those circuits where it's very easy to get warmth into the tyres. There's not very many corners. It's very much a slipstream dependent circuit here. Through turn 3 again, trying to maximize your exit speed onto the curbs. Again, these cars will let go so quickly because they're such high torque. They've got turbos as well. So yeah, being on the tarmac is one thing with grip, but if you're on the painted surface as well, it becomes almost impossible. Oh, there's a car there reversing back onto circuit, and well, that looked like he was going to reverse back onto circuit and didn't. But I tell you what, Jack Keithley will have a brown stain on that seat, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's not what he would love to see in terms of a qualifying lap, but what he would like to see is the purple sector 2 at the moment, as a couple of those first laps come in. Rudinger setting the early pace, but Jack Keithley should be able to go provisional fastest here, and he does, only by half a tenth of a second, or well, actually much less, as the flurry of lap times come in, and Florian Hasse has been able to pull one out of the bag.
Yeah, 119.962, expecting to see that come down. Yeah, a little bit. I would expect to see a 119.5 happening today, if I'm completely honest. Jack Keithley then P2 as it stands, 0.3 of a second off that pace. Payich then is just about a second off the pace. Talking of hundredths of seconds off the pace, Lerner has put it up into P2 onto the front row of the grid, and he has to beat Keithley this race. It is as simple as that. He has to probably go pole position, hope Keithley doesn't score any points, and then hope Keithley has a very similar race to what he had in race number 1. Otherwise, it could be over before it even began in race number 3. We've got Rudinger then, P6 as it stands. He's currently gone green through sector 1. He's gone purple through sector number 2. And he is absolutely flying. Talking to someone flying as well. Lerner has gone purple through sector 1. Across the line, then we go for Rudinger. And Rudinger, did he go provisional pole? I think his lap time may have just been deleted. Yeah, I think it was, because he's 0.3 of a Yarshall, a 19.7. So he's just moved up the position there. Krippner moves up to second spot then, half a tenth behind. Sheehan, 1.5 tenths behind. He's in third position now. And well, the times are starting to tumble here. And Moritz Lerner is absolutely flying, ladies and gentlemen. We're on board with Sheehan, but it is Keithley back up to third then. And now it's a 1/10 of a second separating the top 4. And what's happened here? Who is it? Hasse? Hasse's just gone up to third. Where's Lerner? Here he is. Here's Lerner. Around the last corner we come, and I think we may be about to see a change of pole position, although he runs a bit too wide on the curbs. Will not have been able to get the power down very early. Lucas Muller takes provisional pole position, a 119.7, and Moritz Lerner takes pole position, a 119.6. But look, in behind, Krippner's going faster. Digne's going faster as well. Right now, as it stands, between the top 15, it's under 1 second.
That's absolutely brilliant. Brilliant to see so many drivers putting in a massive effort here in qualifying. Of course, everyone going faster on their second and third laps compared to their first lap is because it's such a short lap, those tires still aren't up to temperature and pressure, even on the start of the first flying lap. So that's why everyone's going faster on their second and third at the moment. Digne, purple through sector 1, green through sector 2. He's improving. Hasse, similarly so as well. Marginally, though, in sector 2. Krippner up into provisional pole position now. It seems like everyone wants to sit there.
We have had, 93 changes of pole position as it stands. Superb stuff from everybody here. And Florian Hasse, I think he may be about to stake his claim for that pole position. Keithley, only 6th position as it stands. This is huge. Hasse goes pole, a 119.4. And while who are we on board with right now is Moritz Lerner, and I think he might be able to do it here as well. So he's gone purple in sector 1. He's gone green through sector 2. He runs out wide, though, through the final corner. He will have one more attempt on the clock, that's for sure. Lerner across the line. And he goes pole as well. It's a 119.4. And well, I said that he needed Keithley to be right outside and he needs to get pole. Well, as it stands, Keithley's only 8th position.
Yep, he is. And Page is going very quickly out there as well. He's purple sector 1. So we might have even yet another driver take themselves provisional pole position here. Seems like all 20 of their set times so far have gotten close to it at this point. But Marco Page, for Team Hour, heading his way through. Got a little bit of traffic ahead, won't concern him just yet. He will improve in sector 2 as well, so maybe looking to solidify himself inside the top 5. Lona has put in a very quick sector 1, so he's trying to extend his advantage in pole position. But Muller's also set a purple sector 1, so is Payet. So it's going to be all up for grabs.
Yeah, Muller has gone faster through sector 1. He's gone green through sector number 2. We're on board with Payet then. As he goes around that final corner, he will not get another lap time in. This is it for him. Where's he going to position himself then for qualifying? His P5. That's the best he can be asking for right now. 0.2 of a second off of pole position. And it always is quite close here at the Red Bull Ring. I didn't think it would be this close. Top 17 now, separated by 0.7 of a second. Lerner then with a little bit of slipstream to work with here. Or was he too close? And I think he might have lost a bit too much time here. He pulls out that slipstream. Does he improve on his time? No, he does not. So it's a 119.418. Payich has gone faster through sector 1, but he will not get another lap time in. But the big story here is that Jack Keithley is only going to start P9 unless Stefanko could potentially put himself in between him and Lerner as well. So could Stefanko go up in towards that top 10 across the line? It's P5. Keithley's going to start 10th. So the big story here is it's only 0.3 of a second between the top 10, but Lerner is in second in the championship, had a terrible race one really, is in P1, and second is, and 10th is Jack Keithley, championship leader.
Oh, how the tables have turned. That, for Moritz Lerner, is a gift coming into this first race. He has to hope that Keithley has an absolutely awful time in and amongst the traffic to try and get back up to those podium positions. This is Lerner's opportunity now to answer straight back to Keithley's good performance in race one.
Yeah, it's one of those, like we saw in the mid-pack what happened in race number 1, where it was just an absolute cluster field. It was horrendous. So Keithley's now got to go through that here. And, you know, we were talking about pressure earlier on. This is where the pressure really is going to come into fruition for Keithley.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's going to be an exciting race. Let me tell you that. We've laid the groundwork now here in qualifying, and soon we'll get the green flag.
Let's head then and get a few messages from Formula Medicine.
Mental economy gym. The main concept of this gym is to check the brain performance in different attitude, and at the same time the body and the brain consumption. What is important is to have high performance and low consumption, and we demonstrate that the top Formula 1 driver, they have a very economic brain compared to people of the same age that they are not drivers. We have many different tests for concentration. It's very easy as a concept, but the timing and the pressure is creating complication. A kind of racing car, more the driver is relaxed, more his car is faster. Reaction time are very important. When you are in front of the screen, you don't see anymore the number you have to find. If you are just outside and you watch, you see everything very easily. Another important topic for a driver is the coordination. Is to be fast, precise and fluid in the movement. We can create many different tests and many distractions, noise and image that try to take away the focus of the driver from his test. We can compare this chair to the treadmill or the bike that you find in the gym. You can have one of these chairs at home and you can train the brain in different conditions. Better performance or low consumption. This is the goal. Mental economy gym. The main concept of this
Huge opportunity for our drivers to potentially get themselves some of their tests. So just figure out all of the stuff that they need to be a real life racing driver. Who knows? But it's about getting there first and foremost. And well, with the qualifying, how it's gone down, it's Moritz Lerner now with a big opportunity here to potentially close down that championship advantage. He starts on pole position, but more importantly, he scores 6 points. Jack Keithley scores 0 points. This is exactly how it went in race number 1 today. Florian Hasse then will be on 4 points, and Leonard Krippner is on 2 points. But we look at some of the big names between Lerner and indeed Keithley. You've got Sheehan, Stefanko, Pejic, Muller, Yarshall, and Dinya. Keithley has got it all to do here, Connery. You do not envy him at all, do you?
Yeah, I don't at all, and those are not easy drivers ahead of him to try and get past, let me tell you that. And for Keithley, for a driver of his caliber, he has all the tools required to be able to do so, but to have to do that in this sort of situation, coming into the final couple of races of the championship, that is a different beast indeed. So let's see how high that Audi can get up through the field to try and challenge Lerner.
Yeah, absolutely. It's I'm really excited for this one. So again, just to paint the picture here, ladies and gentlemen, it was Keithley that came into today as the championship leader. Lerner was in second. Through race number 1, it was Keithley to qualify pole position, and Lerner qualified 5th, so he got 0 points. So Keithley had already extended to 22 points in the championship lead. It's double points today as well. So Keithley's just gone out and won race number 1, so he's just got the big 50 points on top of the 6, so he's got maximum. Lerner had a penalty given during the race, which managed to make him finish in 5th position. So he has got a huge deficit now to indeed fill, but he started back perfectly. He's got that pole position for race number 2. He's got many a driver in between him. And actually, if it was to finish as it is right now, I think Lerner would be leader of the championship.
Could possibly be. I've got some calculations as I've been doing throughout the event. I'm seeing Keithley on 178 points and Lerner on 132 at the moment. Of course, that has yet to be confirmed by the actual race administrators. That's just the numbers that I've been doing inside my head and all the calculations. But for the moment, Keithley still holds a healthy advantage. But that could be all turned on its head here in race 2. Lerner might not be able to get himself into the championship lead after the end of this race, but might be able to put himself in a good spot to be able to seal the deal in the final race.
Yeah, but if, for instance, if Keithley was to finish down in P10, he only gets 2 points. We look at 25 points times 2 is 50 points. So Lerner it is all for Lerner to gain here. He's just got to take full advantage of this. We've seen him start on pole position before. It's where he's comfortable. It's also all about whether he can indeed convert. Where are you going with in this one? Obviously, you voted for Keithley for race number 1, and indeed worked out that way. Have you got any surprises up your sleeve this time, Connery?
It's a very difficult one this time around because we don't have a very clear winner in qualifying. That's the fact of the matter. Everyone was so close, it seems, at this racetrack. Of course, a lot of that is to do with it being a very short track, not a lot of corners to go wrong, but still, it's going to be a massive effort from whoever wins this race. But you can see Florian Hasse on that front row might be able to have a chance.
Leonard Krippner and Emre Cihan then in 3rd and 4th position. Stefanko and Pajic will start 5th and 6th here at the Red Bull Ring. Lucas Muller and Tim Yarshall are the next 2 drivers on the 4th row. Attila Dinier and Jack Keithley, surprisingly, down in 10th position. We've got Jonas Vanner and Nico Nuninghoff in 11th and 12th position. Rudinger and Pitches then in 13th and 14th spot. We've got Ivanov and Yayovsky then down in 15th and 16th position. Carlo Luciano better than Michael Steven then are in 17th and 18th position. Cem Bolek-Bassi in 19th, and then Sheldon van der Linde down in 20th. Just ahead of his brother there, Sheldon van der Linde again, and Lucas Auer, and then Fabio Scherer. So Sheldon's on the grid twice. We've seen Yayovsky and Jajovsky today as well. All sorts of shenanigans going down here. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see again between the van der Lindes as how well they do. Hopefully Kelvin doesn't have any tech issues this time, but we are ready to rock and roll here. We've got ourselves 40 seconds to go before we head into race number 2. Can Lerner close up the championship lead, or can he indeed take the championship lead going into our final race here in the DTM Esports 2020? It's going to be a tight one, Connery. And do you know what? I'm going to throw it out there. I think that Keithley's going to have a stinker here today. I think Lerner's going to be leading this championship going into the final race.
Could possibly happen, but it all depends on this start. Can Lerner get away cleanly and get ahead early on? That's the question here, Luke.
Absolutely. Again, he still has a big job to do. He's done half the job here with qualifying, and now he's got to do the second part of this. Now, we're at the Red Bull Ring. We're at Spielberg. It is race time here then. 20 minutes of racing action here in race number 2 of the finale, and Lerner has got an absolute wonderful start there. Sheldon van der Linde just spun at the back there, unfortunately, as well. Looks like 2 of them have been involved. Actually, Cem Bolek-Bassi's been involved there as well. And as they come through turn number 1, there's a lot of wide exits there, as there's a big crash in the background. Someone there getting on the power a little bit too early. Keithley has not made up any positions, but I tell you what, the big bonus is he was not involved in what just happened in the background.
Yeah, the Krippner looking around the outside. Someone going way out into the runoff there. Didn't quite spot who that was, but they're going to get cycled back through as a lot of drivers get their way to the inside. Yet more instance in the background. You see Moritz Lerner just weaving all the way down this straight towards turn 3. And now Hasse and Krippner continue to look to try and duel into turn 3, but they're going to remain single file for now. A clean start from those guys at the very front, but it seems like the mid-pack and the back have had a lot of problems once again.
Well, here's a little replay here. And again, I'm not too sure who that was in the background, but one car was off onto its roof there. That is not the right way round, I can assure you. You want to have the wheels at the bottom of your car, not the roof. But yeah, not worked out well at all there, unfortunately, as they all come through turn 1. I think it was Dinier that ran off wide there as they went through, indeed, turn 2 So was it Digne? I think Digne dropped down, significantly. What position is he in now, as we are now live? No, he's P8 there. So again, I'm not too sure who that was. But as it stands then, it is indeed, well, Lerner's done exactly what he needed to do. He's in P1. Keithley's not moved up a position here. There's an incident involving Vanna under investigation. So Vanna's done something there. It could have been one of 3 or 4 incidents there, to be honest. It was a pretty messy one, that's for sure. But already 0.6 of a second working well here for Lerner. But Hasse has got that DRS, which means he can indeed close up. But it's Keithley, by the way, who's just being mugged off again. I think Keithley may lose a position here. As they come up through turn number 2, no, he's going to hold on, but it is too wide behind him. Muller and Nuninghoff getting very, very close to each other. But yeah, Keithley not really making any progress here. And maybe, is this just a bogey track for him, do you think?
It could be, but if it finishes as it is with Lerner P1 and Jack Keithley P9, by my calculations, they will be tied on points, 182 apiece. So Keithley needs to be going forward quite quickly here. He has Digne ahead of him that could potentially be a pass in the not too distant future, but he needs to pick these drivers off one by one and quickly.
Yeah, but it's such a tough field of drivers. Like, these are the very top elite drivers in the world right now. It's not as easily as just picking people off, unfortunately. Like, all of these have got their own strengths and their own weaknesses. This is as top level as it gets within esports. So, yeah, again, I don't envy Jack Keithley at all here. But if anyone could do it, it is indeed that man, Jack Keithley. And if he can get up towards the top 5 here, he will deserve the championship. It would be a huge run for him. But as it stands then, Lerner is on lap number 3. He leads the way by 0.6 of a second. Hasse second. Krippner in 3rd. Stefanko 4th. Yarshall is in 5th. And Emre Cihan, Pajic in 6th and 7th. We've got Digne and Keithley. Lucas Muller, Nuninghoff. We've got Yayovsky in P12. Rudinger, Steven. Carlo Luciano Bedens just made an overtake on Kelvin van der Linde. Lucas Auer, Sheldon van der Linde. We've got Vanna, Pinches, Bolek Bassi, Ivanov, and Scherer at the back of the grid. But yeah, again, the championship battle between Lerner and Keithley, as it stands, we think it might be tied up going into round 3. And at the end of round number 1 today, I don't think we would have thought that at all there.
Yeah, absolutely. Look at this, though. Kelvin van der Linde trying to challenge for P15 over Luciano Bedin. Van der Linde very deep down the inside there, still not able to try and get that pass complete, though, so he'll have to stay in line and live to fight another day, or rather live to fight now as he heads his way down the inside at the left as well, but still no success for the South African.
No, not able to make that move there, trying to be as aggressive as you possibly can. So quite open circuit here at Spielberg, so opportunities all over the place. But again, you've got to pick your battles. You can lose a hell of a lot of time if you do indeed not pick the right position here. We're on board with Emre Cihan, who's just trying to get up into that top 5. We've seen Yarshall and Cihan battle so many times this esports series. We're about to see it once again. And so Yarshall just ahead of Cihan. And then they've got Pajic and then number 25 just in behind them as well. Lerner still leading. Lerner's got a half a second gap then. Keithley just doesn't seem to be able to make any inroads forwards here at all. He's actually half a second behind Digne. So this makes it so interesting moving forward to the finale race of the day at Hockenheim. Krippner and Stefanko having a battle side by side. Stefanko has been in the thick of it every single second of every single race so far. He's going to come off. He's probably lost a couple of stone in weight.
Could possibly be the case. And here he goes for the move around the outside of Krippner then. Coming through the right and can't quite get the traction on the outside of the corner there. Can't remain alongside the BMW ahead of him. He has to be looking in his mirrors as well because Yarshall is looking to try and move forward in this situation as well. Absolutely nose to tail as they head through turn 4. Coming up towards turn 5 now. We're riding on board with Stefanko as he tries to work on that rear bumper of Krippner.
Yeah, absolutely. He's just trying to find a little bit of an edge here. And again, they're trying to go out nice and wide and open up the corner for exit speed, but they just cannot get that power down. It's such a tough car. It's such a tough circuit to indeed lay that power down. But Stefanko, as we're on board with now, P4, looking pretty good. He's managed to get past Yarshall, which is a tough task in itself, but not able to really get close enough to Krippner now. Although in the slipstream there, you can see up towards turn number 1, they're both using so much curb there to open up turn 1, and there's a bit of a mistake there. And again, that is a huge mistake from an esports driver. Missing the apex there by half a foot is a massive opportunity for anyone behind. For us mere mortals, that's a proper apex for us. But yeah, for an esports driver, that is a huge mistake, and it looks like he's just about going to lose out. Lucas Auer then losing a position here to Adam Pinches. So Pinches then trying to recover in this race, and he's now behind Sheldon van der Linde. Kelvin winning the van der Linde battle here. Sheldon won the race out, or the battle in race number 1. But it's Kelvin's turn then to indeed return the deficit. So it could be 1-1 by the end of today with the van der Lindes. And when we go to race number 3, that's where there's an opportunity for it to indeed be won outright. Side-by-side in action here then between Stefanko and indeed Krippner. And Stefanko is turning into a bit of an overtaking masterclass right now. He moves up into the podium spots, but while these have all been battling, the top 2 have been able to drive away.
Yeah, absolutely. We're seeing racing instances start and in turn 1, lap 1. I'm guessing everyone's under investigation at this point from about P5 back because of all the big
It's been given as a racing incident. That's why it's been given as. So
okay.
It won't be investigated any further. It's hard to punish the whole field.
Yeah, very difficult. Jack Keithley, though, he's hoping that some penalties get handed to drivers ahead of him right now because he can't make any progress on track, although there's a big stack up ahead of him in and amongst Chian, Digne, Pejic, all having a bit of a scrap in those cars further down the line, but still no opportunities for Jack Keithley, or no obvious opportunities for Jack Keithley to head his way by. Maybe he starts thinking about being a little bit more forceful as there's side-by-side action ahead of him.
Yeah, he's gone around the outside here. Actually, he's left the door open. There's a big mistake in front here as well by Krippner. Contact then between him and indeed Emre Cihan. Keithley, again, just not able to make a move. And now he's going to be under a lot of pressure from drivers in behind. And this is where you don't want to be. When you're fighting for a championship, you don't want to be 3 wide going in towards turn number 3. It's never going to work out where there. Surely, is he going to lose? Whoa. Oh, there's a car sideways as well. That has not worked out well. I think Keithley's going to gain a spot from it all, though. And who's dropping down the order here? I don't know who that was exactly there. Digne was already down the order. Was it? No, it was Digne. So Digne's dropping down the order. Now he's P20. So he was sideways, and that was nearly 4 wide going in towards turn number 3. And the real winner there really is Keithley. He would have lost a lot of time to the leaders. He knows he's not winning this race at this point. But again, in trying to overturn the deficit within the championship, it's a big win for him, although he's got now Rudinger and Emre Cihan right up in behind him. Also, people might be wondering, why is the DRS not working? Why is it not taking effect? They can only go so fast. If you've got DRS of 5 cars in front of you, you can only all go so fast. The car will not go a million miles an hour, unfortunately. So if you've got 6 sets of DRS in front of you, you are limited by the engine you've got in the car. So yeah, it's kind of a bit of a null and void in terms of DRS at this point when there's this many cars fighting for position. But there's a little gap you can see. So that means that Lucas Muller does have an opportunity here to indeed make an overtake, and he should go up to P11 here through turn number 2. Clean as a whistle, drives across there, nice little block pass, and here we go. Oh, it's just a big mistake from Digne. So Digne on the power too early and just spun the car. So yeah, he just completely spun the car there, Connery. No one was at fault. There didn't look like there's any contact at all. And yeah, unfortunate there for Digne. He's going to try and fight back in. There's another mistake from Lucas Muller. So Muller's done exactly the same. And again, a downhill braking zone, you can get crossed up so easily.
Yeah, it's a very, very tricky portion of this racetrack as they now head their way through the middle 2 left-handers on the circuit, turn 4 and turn 5. Emre Cihan on the bottom end of the top 10 at the moment, trying to hold on to position from Jajowski, who hasn't had a great race 2. He didn't really have a great race 1 either, so his championship hopes seemingly down and out before they even started here, as he was mathematically in contention. Still is, technically, but he requires Lohner and Yarshall and Keithley to have, well, basically he scored no points from this point forward, but Emre Cihan, he's in a similar situation as well with the outside shot, but they're just racing for pride now at this point, most likely.
Yeah, but look, again, Connery, let's not take it away from these drivers. To be at this level, to be racing in this competition is unbelievable. So even before the competition started, you're racing for pride. You've already got that proud moment. You're there. You've made it. You're racing against the best of the best. This is what you dream of when you become a sim racer. This is what you want to do. You want to be, mixing it with your fellow competitors. Of course, the landscape's changed so dramatically over the last few years. But again, you'll start still seeing some of the same names up there, the likes of the learners, the likes of people like Jack Keithley. They've been around for quite some time, and we're seeing a lot of younger faces getting involved here. But also, just throw into the mix a little sprinkling of those DTM superstars of previous generations and current racers as we got right now. There's a huge opportunity, a huge shop window for these drivers as well, because there are a lot of teams out there now looking to pay these drivers. They're looking to genuinely compensate them for the time they put in their craft. So this is just a massive opportunity, in my opinion.
Yeah, not just big manufacturers, big real-world tournaments, big real-world racing series like the DTM. It's also a lot of the esports teams looking to get their piece of the pie when it comes to sim racing as well. And, well, we're on board with Jack Keithley, who's part of Williams Esports, part of one of those real-life teams that have come on over into sim racing, but he's still kind of stuck here. I can't help but feel still stuck in 8th place. The only position that he gained in this race was due to an incident happening ahead of him, and that's not a way to go chasing for a championship. But meanwhile, back to your race lead, because Hasse is keeping Lerner honest here.
Yeah, he is. Hasse is within 0.2 of a second, actually, as it stands. We've got Lucas Auer then battling with Sheldon van der Linde. These two have been going at it what feels like all race as well. And then just in behind them is Chen Bollock-Bassi as well. So Kelvin van der Linde is behind these. So Kelvin has not had the best of races here as well. We've got some moves and positions here. So Rudiger's just got ahead of Yayovsky as well. And well, we can actually talk about a genuine transition into a DTM series. We've got Tim Heinemann, who is highly regarded as one of the best that's ever come from Race Room. He's not only got his chance at DTM Trophy this season, he's won the championship before we've even got to the finale coming up in a couple of weeks at the Hockenheim. So, like, there is a genuine transition between this and getting an opportunity. And these drivers, guess what? They get a test in the DTM Trophy car. So you never know. We might be seeing the next DTM Trophy champion right before our eyes right now. So there is a huge opportunity for these drivers. So yeah, it's fantastic to see. But yeah, as you're saying, Lerner still leading. He's actually gained a few tenths of a second here. We got to be looking at Keith Lee, of course, probably one of the more experienced in terms of this championship, because he's been right at the front here, not used to running in a pack. Would he have saved any DRS? Would he have been thinking the long run here, or would he have been thinking early in this race, I need to get to the front as soon as possible? Well, as he does indeed try and make a move here on Krippner. He's just about got his nose ahead, and Krippner says, nope, not today. And I tell you what, Krippner was very, very kind there. We've seen other drivers really hang drivers out to dry, and Keith Lee got away with one there.
Yeah, sometimes we see drivers take the Max Verstappen line. 3 wide, though, in towards turn number 3. Keith Lee's under attack now from behind. Yayovsky trying to make some progress around the outside. Can't get it done on the exit of turn 3, but can live to fight another day and look to the inside of these left-handers as well to try to apply the pressure to the current championship leader by only 4 points at this stage if he finishes in P8. But look at that, Yayovsky looking to the inside on the Audi, but Keith Lee holds strong.
Yeah, he just about holds strong here, but again, if there's one driver that's not going to care about their championship, that is Yayovsky, one of the most aggressive drivers, very similarly to Chen Bollock-Bassi. He will make an opportunity for himself if there's something there, a snifter of hope, and he will more than likely turn that into an overtake. This is as close as we see the leaders out of turn number 1 here then to Florian Hasse. Has he saved any DRS? That's the big question here. His wing, yes, definitely, 100%. His wing's gone down, and you see Lerner squeezing him onto the white line here. It's all about late braking then in towards turn number 2, and I think it's 2 wide going in, it's nearly 3 wide going in for P2, or P3, should I say, between Payech, Yarshall, and Stefanko as well. Yarshall's going to come out ahead of them out of turn number 2, and Florian Hasse, he's tried again, he's failed again. Lerner looking very, very strong here.
Yeah, he's looking absolutely incredible. Looking to try and score the most points possible out of this round. We got a warning for Krippner for not leaving space to other competitors. Meanwhile, Keith Lee is still attempting to try and pass Krippner around the outside of turn 3. He's got a better run this time, though, and he's able to challenge all the way through.
He's got the inside line then, coming through the left-hander here through the mid-sector of this circuit, and he should get the position there. And as we are saying, Krippner's been really, really kind to Keith Lee. He gets a warning for not leaving room. Oh, man, poor guy. Absolute poor guy. Keith Lee runs it a little bit wide there, just about gets away with it. And this, for our... Well, I say our, it's you with the mathematics here, Connery. This would put Keith Lee just about in the lead of the championship, but it would be so, so close. And actually, I think it might be the closest we've had so far. Oh, big off there in the background as well. I think that might have been Emre Cihan. So Cihan jumps off the circuit. Not good there. Cihan's actually got a 3-second slowdown. So I'm wondering whether that slowdown might have cost him there as he was trying to turn the car, which would not have been an ideal situation to receive a slowdown penalty. But the big story here is that Jack Keith Lee from 10th on the grid has got up to 7th, and that could be enough for him to lead the championship going into our finale.
By 6 points by my calculations. It's a small buffer, but it's a buffer
by a pole
nonetheless.
position.
Yeah, Yayovsky looking to try and go around the outside here of P8. Krippner at risk of losing another spot here coming into the final quarter of this race.
Yeah, it's Krippner again, just going backwards at this point, unfortunately. So I'm thinking that people like Yayovsky, Jack Keith Lee have saved some DRS, whereas Krippner's used it up at the early stages of this race. We've seen differing strategies across this whole championship here. Krippner now, again, will know of that warning. He's going to lose a position exactly the same way as he's done previously here. Can he keep his nose around the outside? Is Yayovsky going to be able to hold on to that position? He does, just about get his rear across the bonnet then of Krippner, and Yayovsky up to P8. Again, you're talking about these drivers are just racing for pride at this point, but just to get here, no one can ever take that away from them. I say that about every esports competition I'm involved in. We're seeing more and more of the same names just continually qualify for these events, but still, no one can ever be taking this away from you. When you're old and grey and you put that scrapbook out there for your when you're put out to pasture and you've got that scrapbook out for your grandkids, you can always say that you were involved in something pretty cool. And DTM again putting on some incredible esports stuff for these drivers. Look at that, Lerner just knows exactly the width of his car. Gonna squeeze Hasser out wide here. Can Hasser get on the power early enough though? How much has he learned? Well, he's learned enough then to keep his nose there, but he still will have the outside line. And Lerner, again, pardon the pun, but he's just learning more and more about this car every single lap. He's having to put the car in a different position to try and hold on to the lead here. Hasser piling on that pressure, and he's forced a little bit of a mistake there. Did not go for the apex early, did Lerner, but he's gotten the power nice and early on the exit. But this is the first time we've seen Hasser being able to put the pressure on for the entirety of a lap.
Yeah, and Lerner's having to cover off all of these moves at the moment. Hasser looking incredibly aggressive at this stage of the race in the final couple of laps and going for every single opportunity, showing the nose coming down into these corners. You can see Lerner going all the way to the right-hand side of the track, partially to try and break the little tiny bit of draft you have coming down in towards the penultimate corner. But now coming through the final corner with 2 minutes and 37 seconds left on the clock. Go as wide as you dare coming through the exit of the final corner to get all the speed as you start to climb the hill slightly up in towards turn 1. 4.5 tenths of a second separate you to, well, P1 and P2 at the moment.
Yeah, well, there's the same distance between Keithley and Yayovsky. We're on board then with Rudinger, and actually you can see Keithley and Yayovsky just ahead of them. Rudinger not able to make a move here for P9. Krippner, unfortunately, just dropping further and further backwards here. We've got 1.5 laps then remaining of this race. Lerner is in a great spot here. You know, I said if he had a bad race here, the championship could well indeed be over for him moving into the final race at Hockenheim. But I tell you what, it's well and truly alive right now if it finishes as it is right now.
It really, really is. Look at this, though. Rudinger trying to hold off a couple of competitors, but there's been changes for your AC. They're actively fighting right now as Hasser seems to have gone for it once again, and it looks like he's sealed the deal away from the cameras. Oh, yeah, it is Hasser in the lead then, 3 tenths clear of Lerner as well. So that is huge then for this championship. But again, on the final lap here, Lerner will have everything in hand here. He'll have all of the DRS to throw at him. He'll have the push to passes to use as well. But right now, Hasser has waited. He has waited, he's huffed and he's puffed, and now he's blown that P1 down. Is he going to be able to hold on to it here? So we head on towards that final lap of today's race, and Lerner needs this. He has to win this race for me. And I tell you what, Hasser makes a little bit of a mistake there on the exit here, but we are on board with our leaders. Can Lerner get back into the lead of this race? He needs an absolute monster exit through turn number 1 to make a potential move through turn number 2. And I tell you what, it's smooth as a whistle right there. And he's got to get that DRS open as they come up towards turn 2. He's closing in then into the back then of Florian Hasser. Hasser's going to force him to go around the outside here. And well, Moritz Lerner looking cool, calm and composed here. He's got to take the outside line. Can he keep his nose in? He cannot. Florian Hasser gets on the power nicely here as well. But it is indeed, again, opportunity knocks then for Moritz Lerner. Is he going to go one way and then fake the other? He's not. He's going to be forced to go around the outside once again. But actually, he's got his nose ahead this time as they head down towards turn number 3. Moritz Lerner just losing the rear of the car ever so slightly, but he's going to try and do the over and under. Not quite close enough to do so as we head then towards the double left-hander through the middle sector of this course. You can see that Lerner trying to open up that corner. He's trying to go all the way around the outside. And I tell you what, he's got the traction around the outside here. Can he do a magical move here in the DTM Esports 2020? Has to leave him room. Oh, Moritz Lerner, you can do it. He can. Up the inside. He's got 2 corners to go. And is he going to take the lead again? He has. What a move by Moritz Lerner. He's had to win this race. He had to win this race. He's got the opportunity to win it. Almost contact between the 2. And Lerner will take the checkered flag here at Spielberg. What an unbelievable final lap there. GG's to Hasser and Lerner. Keithley, by the way, up to P6. So oh, wow. I don't know what to say. I do not know what to say. That is unbelievable. Connery, help me out. That's wow. That was incredible. That was a move of a champion there from Moritz Lerner. That was absolutely awesome. They were basically side by side for the entire lap at the very end there, and he was able to come out on top, going around the outside of the 2 left-handers, 10, 4, and 5. You kidding me?
Oh, my heart it feels like it's going to come out of my chest. Like, that's the moments we live for, not only as sim racers, but as casters. That is just phenomenal there. Hasser, again, you know, it takes 2 to tango there. Those 2 were both absolutely phenomenal. And to make the move around the outside, he set that up perfectly. Out of turn number 3, just got into power nice and early. Didn't then force an opportunity for himself. He just gradually crept up to the back of Hasse. We've seen so many drivers try and get the power down too early and lose the rear out of turn 3. We've seen it from pretty much everybody during that race, but he perfectly waited for his opportunity, slammed open up DRS just to help him out a little bit, and then threw that double left-hander. Just stuck it round the outside. He had to trust that Hasse wasn't going to squeeze him too much onto the curbs on the exit, down in towards the final couple of corners. And well, Hasse did try and bite back through the final turn, didn't quite work out. And Lerner, is that the first step between him becoming the DTM Esports Champion 2020? What an incredible finish.
That was absolutely amazing. There are not enough there are not enough words to just try and describe what happened there in that final lap. It sets Moritz up very well for a big old challenge for the championship coming into the final race. Jack Keithley still leads on the points coming into that race, but Lerner has all the confidence.
What an important couple of positions, though, for Jack Keithley. So Keithley managed to get back up to P6 in the end from P10 on the grid. So he has kept his championship lead from our mathematics here. But again, we're all excitable messes at this point of this championship. So let's not take what our words are. It's just been absolutely incredible here. So exciting. And well, now we get to check out then the arena for the final race. Let's check out Hockenheim.
Hi and welcome to DTM Esports Championship Round 4. Today we are in Hockenheim. And now before starting the lap, use all of the track available. And now focus on the first turn, up to 5th gear. Now down to 4th. Just a little tap on the brakes, and now be careful with track limits on the exit, but use all of the curb available. Braking at the 100 meter sign down to 2nd, but focus on the exit because there's a long straight approaching. This left-hander is flat. And now here you can use DRS and push to pass. This is a good overtaking opportunity. And now try to keep the distance small. And focus on the braking point at the 100 meter sign again. Use the white line to carry maximum speed through the corner. Now shifting through the gears, this right hander is flat now. And again down to 2nd gear. Hit the inside curb and early on throttle. This right hander is almost flat, should be flat in qualifying. Use all of the track available again. And now close to the wall. 1 gear down, hit the inside curb and outside curb. And now late braking. Now use the banking to carry all the momentum through the corner. And over the curbs. Now down to 3rd gear and stay in 3rd for the last 2 corners. Try to hit the inside curbs to rotate the car and use all of the track available again. And this was 1 lap in Hockenheim, and now enjoy the show.
There you go. That is Hockenheim. That is going to be the venue for the finale here. I tell you what, that last race has set us up absolutely perfectly. I didn't think we were going to be anywhere near as close in terms of a championship battle between the 2 drivers as we are right now, Connery. I'm super excited. How are you feeling?
I don't know at this point. This is a whole new sort of situation for me with the championship being oh so close coming into this final round, and we get to see a recap of the podium there. Gotta say though, great race from Florian Hasse to be able to take the fight to Lerner and come home P2. Could have so easily been P1 at the end of the day with how he was driving in the final portions of the race. And Marko Pejic getting up onto the podium as well at the end of the day. Those are your full race results from race 2 of the evening. Lerner coming out on top and narrowing the gap to Keithley.
So what were we saying? Was it 36 points the advantage before that race?
It was, yes, something along those lines, yeah.
36 points then. So Keithley just got 17 points from that race there, which I don't understand how he's managed to get an odd number of points in a double points race. But, you know, I'm not going to get involved with the point scoring system. But yeah, for me, yes, Lerner, I think is going to be second in this championship. Hopefully we do indeed get the championship standings before we do head into the race. That would be amazing, just so we can set it up nicely. But as it stands then, we are into qualifying here. Lerner is on cloud 9 from what he did achieve in the previous race at the Red Bull Ring Spielberg. He just needs to do more of the same here. And actually, as much as Keithley is still in the lead of the championship, all of the pressure goes on his shoulders. He's going to start doubting himself now. Of course, race 1, dominating. Race 2 just didn't go well at all. Race 3, again, he's just got the weight of the world on his shoulders.
Yep, he absolutely does. This is crunch time now, especially coming into qualifying 2, where you have maximum 6 points on offer. It could be 6 points the difference at the end of the day with how things have been going. So you really need to try and grab every single available point here coming into these final 2 sessions, because you don't want to be looking back at a couple of events after this is done and say, well, that's where I lost a couple of points. That's where I potentially lost this championship.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an interesting format, that's for sure, and it makes it very, very interesting for us moving forward here, but it's all about the here and now. Moritz Lerner. Imagine if they're P1, P2 here, Connery. Imagine if Lerner was to take P1 and Jack Keithley was to be in P2. That would just like set us up unbelievably well for... I think that would put us into the range of potentially them being tied, actually, if that was the way qualifying was to go. Lerner has got the added pressure of being on home soil as well. He should do well here. It's Hockenheim, whereas Keithley is a Brit, of course, and Keithley has just set the pace then, a 129.177. And there's the overall points there. That is from the previous round, so ignore that. We will get it up on screen, I'm sure, over either qualifying or in the race. So we will get it set up beautifully well. We're all excited. It's going to be good. And then we're into what would be the finale here for DTM Esports 2020. I'm almost shaking. I'm so excited for this. Jack Keithley, not only provisional pole, he's got purple through Sector 1.
Yeah, so maybe a response here from Moritz Lerner. I was slightly worried when the points came up then because I thought my calculations were wrong, but we'll get to see in just a couple of moments once we get those in order. But Moritz Lerner, of course, fast through Sector 1, has gone purple, but so has so many other drivers in the session at the moment. So Moritz Lerner really needs to pull one out of the bag now. Ideally, start pole position just like he did at the Red Bull Ring. Needs to do it again here at Hockenheim in that BMW.
Oh, he's flying.
Keithley, you know he's not gonna give up on this.
He's absolutely flying. But here we go. Here's the official points then. It is Jack Keithley on 196, actually still 14 ahead then of Lerner. How important it was for him to get P6 in that previous race. So it is Lerner now. He has to get pole position for me to really put the pressure on Keithley. But I tell you what, he is doing everything in his power to indeed get that pole spot as we indeed come around that final corner. He's actually got Keithley just in behind him as well. And as he goes across the line, it's only good enough for P3. Keithley goes quicker. So Lerner now 0.2 of a second slower than Keithley. Stefanko puts himself in the middle of them both. He's done it again. But look at this. Yarshall has gone provisional pole. Chihan has taken second position here. So again, we're talking about Keithley. We're talking about Lerner. There are what? 21 other drivers on this grid. They don't care about the championship at this point. They're there to try and get some victories.
Yeah, absolutely. They're wanting to get into the mix, and at least for some of those drivers, they don't care that there's a championship fight trying to be decided coming into the race. And of course, the end of qualifying here, Yayovsky going provisionally fastest in qualifying. The final qualifying session of this DTM Esports Championship, powered by MediaMarkt, of course, Europe's largest electronic retailer, giving their support to this series. Martin Stefanko going very quickly out there on track as well.
They are going to, MediaMarkt are going to love you for that shout out. Love to see it. Great work, Connery. Stefanko takes pole, though. Anyone else want to take pole? Look at the purple sectors. Keithley's got purple. Lerner's gone purple as well. And I think we're about to see maybe Lerner take pole, and then Keithley may take it just in behind him. So where is Moritz Lerner? Stefanko is provisionally on pole position, though. He's got the job done as it stands, but here's Moritz Lerner. He's got Keithley just in behind him, and I just can't cope with this. He makes a very wide exit out of the final corner across the line. Where does he end up? He takes pole at 28.563. Keithley second. So it's 700ths between the two, and it's well evenly poised right now. They do get one more opportunity here though, and actually no one below them have gone purple. At 28.5 right now is our provisional pole, and I think that's going to take some beating.
It is, but there's still a little bit of time left in the session, but Keithley's gone slow. through Sector 1. That's not going to work out for him unless he's able to pick up a mega amount of pace in these final 2 sectors. He might get enough time coming across the line to go out for one more after this one, but it's not this sort of situation you want to be in if you're the British driver. Lona setting a very, very good mark there at the very front of the qualifying order. Stefanko's having a great qualifying once again here, so qualifying hero, I suppose.
Yeah, but I think this final sector's just been killed there by a back marker, unfortunately. So, yeah, they may be on a quick lap as well, but I think Stefanko could have taken pole position. And as he goes across the line, it's not going to be an improvement here. It could have been pole, but it's not going to be pole position. Jack Keithley, again, this is not going to be pole position, but it's all about him getting some lap times in the circuit as it stands. And, well, we are set up absolutely beautifully well for race number 3 as it stands. Lerner is going to be your pole sitter, and Jack Keithley is going to be second position on the grid. And the championship is Jack Keithley in the lead of the championship, and Moritz Lerner is second. The gap is 14 points going into qualifying. It will now be 12 points with the points added from qualifying. Pajic not going any quicker either. As you can see, nobody is going purple anywhere, to be honest, which is yeah, not ideal for everybody else, but it has always been about Moritz Lerner and Jack Keithley from the start of today, to be completely honest. We thought there might be some outside influence in that, but it hasn't been. It is going to be going down to those two, to the wire, and they are going to start on the front row of the grid. It's set up absolutely perfectly, Connery. Again, do you want to do predictions at this point, or are we just going to let this play out?
At this point, just flip a coin. It probably is going to be the same sort of chance as we have to try and predict a winner at this point. So that is going to be incredible. You really don't want to miss this one, because this might be one of the best sim races that we'll get here in 2020. Moritz Lerner versus Jack Keithley. Let's go.
Yeah, it was 14 points coming into this race. It's now 12 points because Lerner's taken pole position. It is Lerner versus Keithley. And well, we'll see this after we go to a quick break.
In der Boxengasse werden die letzten Vorkehrungen getroffen. Volle Konzentration bei den Piloten. Die Spannung steigt ins Unermessliche. Ein fulminanter Start. 2 Piloten liefern sich ein knallhartes Kopf-an-Kopf-Rennen. Ich glaube, mein Schwein pfeift. Sie schmeißt den Turbo an, hebt ab und fliegt als Erste ins Ziel. Auf die Pole Position. Bring deine Gaming-Skills auf ein neues Level mit dem neuen Logitech G923 Rennlenkrad. Jetzt online auf mediamarkt.de/DTM. Also gib Gummi, Mediamarkt.
Well, I'm nervous and I'm a commentator, so I cannot tell you what the drivers are going to be going through. That's for sure. I am sweating like I'm in the Sahara right now. Like, I need someone to just, Connery, just hold me. Just hold me, will you? This is ridiculous. And again, I'm not even in the cockpit.
We need some sedatives here at this point, because that's all that's going to calm us down. I'm sort of bouncing my leg in anticipation as we'll get to recap the qualifying results. Moritz Lerner, Jack Keithley, 2 championship contenders, front row. What's going to happen between those two, I don't know. But whatever it is, it's going to be exciting. With the qualifying points applied, I think Keithley's on 200 with Lerner on 188 at the moment. So the margin is 12 points.
It's so close, ladies and gentlemen. Let's look at the actual pro drivers then to see who finished at the top end of that. And it's Sheldon van der Linde. So Sheldon's had a really good day today, actually, for Team Sheldon. But yes, it is about Lerner. It is about Jack Keithley, who is going to become our DTM Esports Champion 2020. The finale is here, just like the DTM finale in a couple of weeks. Actually, it's going to be a week this Friday where it will begin in Hockenheim, which is going to be really, really exciting to be involved in. But it's all about today. Who is going to take home the prizes? Who's going to be the team champions as well? You know, we've got so many different things to be looking forward to. I'm going to push you for it. Prediction. Who's winning this championship?
I think the momentum is with Lerner. So I am going to go with Lona, but it's such a slim margin at this point. For those of you wondering about the point situation, in P1, P2 at the moment, whoever finishes ahead wins. That's how the points are working out right now. So it's just a duel between those two. And unless they fall deeper in the pack, then maybe we'll get into a little bit more complicated points orders. But I think Lona just has the edge, but the slightest of margins, I got to say.
Yeah, Lerner wins. He wins by 2 points, right? That's how it's because it's a 14-point difference between P1 and P2 today. Yeah, it's going to go down to the absolute wire. I'm excited to just be involved in this. Didn't think we were going to have this much excitement going into the finale. They are on different teams for the DTM Esports Championship, but they are teammates in outside of this. They both race for Williams Esports, so it's a great day for Williams Esports, that's for sure. Whatever happens here, they're going to be champions of the DTM Esports, but which one is it going to be? Is it going to be Jack Keithley representing Great Britain? Is it going to be Moritz Lerner representing Germany on German soil, no less? And again, I'm going to have to go with you there, Connery. I'm going to say Moritz Lerner has the momentum. Again, race number 1, Jack Keithley just looked flawless. Looked like nothing could stop him. And then qualifying happened at the Red Bull Ring, and it just did not go his way at all. I must say, though, both of them have had admirable attitude in this championship. They've been fantastic in terms of interviews as well. Both been very, very good to be involved with this championship. So again, I just wish them both the very best of luck, and hopefully we have a proper, nice, clean battle here in the West.
Yeah, absolutely. The last thing you want in this situation is for the championship to be decided in the stewards' room. That is not what we want to see. We want to see it out there on track, driver versus driver, team versus team, and in the case of these two, manufacturer versus manufacturer as well. So it's gotten all the hallmarks of an absolute belter of a final round, but we just got to get the execution done.
Absolutely. Don't worry about turn 1. Do not worry about turn 2, ladies and gentlemen. There's a kink that we call turn 3. Worry about turn 4. That hairpin, down in towards that hairpin, that is where the action's going to happen. It's a bit like Spa, actually, in terms of the Kemmel Straight. You may see 3, maybe 4 wide into there. Remember, there are indeed Keithley and indeed Lerner. Those two are going for the championship. But there's a lot of drivers around them here that are not going to be interested in that whatsoever. They're going to be trying to make the move. They're going to be trying to win this race.
Yeah, absolutely. So, it sort of comes into the point where a couple of the other drivers outside the championship might have a bit of a different mindset in this one. But of course, there's still teams championships to try and fight for. So those drivers might be a bit more concerned about that. The pro drivers further back in the field, they're also wanting to go a bit further forward in their championship fight as well between themselves. So even though we are focusing on this pro sim racer championship, there's still a lot more on the line for those other drivers. So they're not going to be giving up that easily, even if they've got a championship contender behind or in front of them.
Absolutely. But here we go then. Here is your grid for the final race of the 2020 Esports. It's Moritz Lerner and Jack Keithley. We've said enough about them, but it's Stefanko and Yayovsky in P3 and P4. We've then got Yarshall and Emre Cihan in P5 and P6. Florian Hasser and Jonas Vanner in P7 and P8. On the 5th row of the grid, then it's Rudinger and Krippner, both representing Germany. We've then got Pajic and Dinya, both also representing Germany there as well. It's always a Hungarian, it's Pinches and Cem Bolek Bassi. Lucas Muller and Sheldon van der Linde make 15th and 16th position. Roman Ivanov and Michael Steven make up 17th and 18th spot. We've then got Carlo Luciano Bedin and Lucas Auer, P19 and 20. Fabio Scherer and Sheldon van der Linde in 21 and 22. And then at the back then is Nico Nuninghoff. So it looks like Nuninghoff has not managed to get a lap time in. One of the quicker drivers in terms of this championship so far. But we are heading onto the grid then. It is a P1, P2 direct shootout. Winner takes all here for the DTM Esports 2020. I can feel the roar now. I think that's legitimately the fans now. It's legitimately just me and Connery in the I'm shaking. That's what the roar is. It's me shaking. I'm so nervous for these drivers here, Connery.
Yeah, that's the passion we have for this sport, for motorsport, for sim racing. DTM Esports Championship ends here with just yet more racing. Take it away, Luke.
So here we go then, just waiting for the final driver to indeed ready up onto the grid. And here we are. The grid is set. We are ready then for the finale here in the DTM Esports 2020. We're at Hockenheim. It is Moritz Lerner, second in the championship, starting pole position. It's winner takes all here. And I tell you what, Jack Keithley has got a terrible start here. He is side by side with Stefanko down in towards turn number 1. Lerner's got the start of dreams here, though, ladies and gentlemen. Jack Keithley will take P2, but I told you, ignore turn 1, ignore turn 2. The action's going to happen down in towards turn number 4. Stefanko, though, under a lot of pressure from, there's a big late lunge up the inside. Oh, Keithley spun! Keithley spun! He's championship leader and he's spun. Is he throwing it all away, ladies and gentlemen? He's right down the order. He's P11 here. It didn't look like there's any contact with anybody. He's just got on the power too early. And we said he was looking relaxed earlier. That is surely got to be nerves.
Gotta be. He might have thrown it inside the first minute, the first lap of this race. Now, he's got to put it all on the line. He's got to go for moves. He's got to be so aggressive if he's going to have any chance of doing anything about Lerner. But it's going to be up against the odds. Definitely up against the odds. Lerner might have one hand on the trophy.
Oh, Lerner's just done everything right here. Again, he had a wake-up call. Again, he's never actually led the championship past Spa. So he's always been behind Jack Keithley for the most of this championship here. And, well, this could be the real underdog story really coming into this weekend. It didn't really look like he had too much of a shot, especially after race number 1 at Algarve or Portimao. And, well, all of a sudden now it's his to lose. So, Stefanko under investigation with contact with Keithley. Okay, that's very interesting. Hopefully we get a replay of that then to indeed have a closer look. But it didn't look like there was any contact between the two. And again, like we said, that is not how you want a championship to indeed be decided. But as we come up towards the end of lap number 1, then Lerner leads 1.8 seconds out of the advantage. He doesn't care what's happening behind him right now. And actually, I say that, he really will. He will be furious that Keithley's had an incident, to be honest with you. Like, he's one of those drivers that would have wanted that to be a 1v1, like on Rust, like back in the old days. But like, yeah, he would hate to win it like this. Ultimately, he's gonna not give the trophy away because of it. But yeah, he would have not wanted to have seen. Again, where was the contact there? I didn't see any. So I wonder whether there's a different view here. Again, we're looking at one view, stewards are looking at a different view, and within sim racing, sometimes the netcode's a little bit different. So, you know, that's just a way in terms of where sim racing works. It's just one of our little quirks. But yeah, Keithley has definitely been on the receiving end. He's 5.2 seconds behind. And again, it is winner takes all. So it's not one of those cases where he can get back up to second position and take the championship here. He has to win out. You know, his qualifying is good. He knows he's got the pace around this circuit. One of the longer circuits we've used this season as well. So again, for me, it gives him a better opportunity to maybe retake positions. And actually, I think he's just in behind Vanna here, maybe looking for a move. And he wasn't quite close enough to Vanna. But as it stands then, it's now 1.4 seconds. So actually, Yarshall closing back in towards Lerner. And that's a factor here. You know, obviously, we've seen contact between two drivers already. As soon as Lerner may be getting into a battle, that's where mistakes can happen.
Absolutely. So it's going to be an interesting complexion to that battle at the very front of the field. Everyone's strung up single file right now as they head their way across the start-finish line and diving towards that right-hand kink of turn 1. We're looking at Emery Chian at the moment in 5th place, but you can see those leaders heading their way in towards turn number 1 now. And Lerner has been able to secure about a 1.8 second gap over Yarshall for the moment. So that's enough of a buffer right now to be comfortable. Meanwhile, further down the pack, Kelvin van der Linde trying to make some progress over Muller in this situation. So everything calm at the moment, but I know things can turn on their head very, very quickly here.
Lucas Muller and Kelvin van der Linde have already shared a track so far this season, actually, with the Formula E Race from Home Challenge. Big mistake there, actually, in front there. Was that Kelvin? It was. So Kelvin's just going to lose that to Nuninghoff, and then he's going to get straight across Sheldon. Doesn't want Sheldon to overtake him. And that'll be sacrilege. Side by side there between the two. And while they are battling for position like they would do if they were children. This is brilliant stuff from both of them. Sheldon van der Linde has held the nose there, by the way. He's got the inside line then as they come up towards the stadium section here. And Kelvin, after that mistake, has lost out to his brother. And well, there you go. As you can see, Kelvin trying to make a move up the inside here. The connection not looking the greatest. Yuyovski has got... Oh, so that's what's happened there. So Yuyovski's hit Stefanko into Keithley. And Sheldon van der Linde falls off the circuit then. That's not good. That's exactly where Vettel did it a couple of years ago. Albeit he's not hit the barrier this time. Florian Hassenden in P3. So Jack Keithley, again, we're so excited for this colliery. It's all come undone because Yuyovski is pool cued the white ball with being Stefanko into Jack Keithley and knocking him off circuit.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate, but it does happen. We can't get all that we want in life is probably the moral of the story there. Jack Keithley feeling that perhaps more than any of us at the moment, but he's still got a couple of positions on the cards here. He can still try and secure some points for his team in that particular championship as well. For Team Scherer, looking to try and go around the outside of Warner in towards the hairpin. He goes looking for the up and under, but Warner's parked it on the apex, so Keithley's not able to get much progress done. He's just going to sit in behind, maybe even use a little bit of DRS to make this move happen. Coming up through turn 7, he's got the inside line. Should be able to do it on the brakes in towards turn 8, around the outside, and just about has a half a car length advantage, and he's able to complete it by the time the next right-hander arrives.
Beautiful stuff there by Jack Keithley, showing exactly why he is at the top of the championship tree as it stands. You know, obviously with this result being added, it will change, but he is currently leading this championship before this race started, and that was a sensational overtake there. And again, takes 2 to tango. You've got to give Vanner the credit he deserves there. He left the room. He made it very, very tough, but indeed he still, you know, gave the opportunity for Keithley to pass cleanly, although being harsh but fair. As it stands, though, Lerner now 2 seconds in the lead. So Lerner, if anything, has gained even more time. Yarshall second, Hassa third, Sheehan in fourth, Stefanko is in fifth. Stefanko has just been that driver that's been in and around it today without having that standout race performance.
Yeah, he has. He's really shown up to the final couple of races of this championship, hasn't he? He's doing very well for himself. Maybe if he could maybe start off the season with such prowess, then maybe he'd be a championship contender at this point. But a struggle in the early portions of the season means that he's not in that position for the moment. Meanwhile, Nuninghoff trying to get past Krippner here, down in towards the hairpin, long way around, and Krippner has gone ultra towards the inside to try and cover off that move, and it looks like Nuninghoff being able to get the speed off the corner, and he is clear by the time turn 7 apex is there.
Yeah, we saw that same move done by Jack Keithley there, but he got it done a lot sooner than Jack did, and move beautifully done there. Good to see that these drivers are still fighting. Actually, Nuninghoff started P23, by the way, just to let you know. He didn't get a qualifying lap in, so yeah, he started at P23. He's already up to 10th spot. So he's represented Team Kelvin van der Linde, so Kelvin's going to be pretty happy with that. And actually, Kelvin's the leader of the pro drivers, although he has got Lucas Auer just in behind him. Lerner still 2 seconds in the lead. We're on board with Emre Sheehan then. And, you know, Jack Keithley is not far behind these drivers, needs them to really start battling, but ultimately this is kind of the most spread out we've seen in the field all season.
Yeah, it is. It's a shame for it to happen in the final race, but still plenty of time left on the clock for the action to happen. Emre Sheehan doing a good job here in this one. Didn't quite get the start to the day that he wanted in terms of a championship charge, but even then, if he did finish well, I think Lerner and Keithley finished well enough for him maybe to not be able to try and fight for it at this stage if things went his way. Jack Keithley up to P7 though, so he's making slow but steady progress, but I'm looking at that gap to the race lead because that continues to extend. It's up to 7 seconds. Down the inside of Rudiger he goes, and Rudiger certainly didn't want to fight that one.
Yeah, it's not, Rudiger trying his level best there to hold on, but Jack Keithley is on a mission. And I don't know about you, like, you can normally just tell by facial expressions if someone's fuming or not, and you can just tell he's got his teeth gritted there. Like, you can't tell a lot. He's got a very good poker face, as Keithley, but you can tell he's so angry here, and he's got every right to be. Like, I'm not gonna treat the audience like they're stupid. Never have been that kind of commentator. And yeah, he's gonna be absolutely furious with what's happened on lap 1. We know that happens in motorsports, but again, it's completely been taken out of his hands, and you'd never like to see that in sim racing. Again, we'd need to see the incident a little bit more clearly, I would say. But I just want to say, you know, to Jack, like, keep your head up. You've been absolutely sensational this championship. Again, there's still 10 minutes, 50 seconds to go. Anything can happen within the world of sim racing and motorsport. So, yeah, it can happen. It's very unlikely to do so, but he's got to hold his head up high because he's been absolutely sensational from start to finish in this championship. And, yeah, he's just, unfortunately, had a bit of misfortune there. But Lerner, even if Jack was just in behind him, Lerner's just looked so quick this race.
Yeah, he's looking so good, and he's doing all that he needs to do at the moment, is Lerner. I mean, at this point, you kind of don't want to go like 110% trying to push every single lap, because that might make you more prone to more mistakes. But you also don't want to back off too much if you're Boris Lohner, because, well, for one, Yashal isn't too far behind, being 1.6 seconds adrift. But also sometimes, you know, getting complacent and lifting off could also make you more prone to more mistakes as well, since you're not entirely focused on the task at hand. So Lohner just needs to hit that sweet spot where he's just in his own zone here, and he'll be able to take the championship at the end of this race. But one error might change it all.
Yeah, for sure. Like, again, yeah, just taking a little bit off your lap times is where mistakes can creep in. We've seen it happen, Connery, many a time as commentators, that's for sure. But yeah, just something seems a little bit different about Lerner today. I think it was like a metaphorical kick to the nuts what happened in the first race, where he just didn't have the pace, really, to challenge Keithley. Ultimately, he had that penalty as well to deal with, which has cost him running in the top 3. But he's channeled that. He's channeled that in such a positive way. Red Bull was incredible, apart from Florian Haas, of course, was trying his best to ruin his party. But then it's come to this race, and yeah, he's just looked unstoppable. If I'm being completely honest, he really has. This has been the most dominant performance so far of the season from anybody.
Yeah, it really has. Meanwhile, Emre Cian trying to hold off Stefanko here, and he might have been able to rather get the move done up into P4 rather than trying to defend it. But he has to defend it now, coming down into the hairpin, because Stefanko's looking to try and make some progress around his outside. Not gonna, well, he actually is gonna have a decent amount of speed off the corner there. Of course, using the DRS to help a little bit in that one, and trying to challenge coming up in towards turn 7. Goes to the outside for turn 8. Can the Turkish driver of Emre Cian hold on? And it looks like he has been able to do so.
Stefanko's just been our little entertainment monkey today, hasn't he? He's just been putting on moves being overtaken by people, then overtaking people. He's never more than half a second away from someone. So he's just been performing at an elite level for our viewing pleasure all day today, without unfortunately getting that big standout result. But Stefanko, if you don't know who Stefanko is, do some research, ladies and gentlemen. He is one of the very, very best in the world right now. He is, he's just good at everything. When I first started commentating or hosting in sim racing, there was the same kind of, 20 to 50 names that you would see at all of the events on all different games. That isn't the case anymore. To be very, very good at one game, to be very good at more than one game is almost impossible. There are those few that are just ridiculous, and Stefanko is definitely one of those drivers. 7 minutes, 30 seconds to go. Lerner leads 1.4 seconds as Yashal is closing that lead here. Hassa is currently in P3, and for my money, that makes it a German 1-2-3 as it stands here in Hockenheim.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess Yashal's biggest fan right now is Jack Keithley, because he's probably saying, "Go on, go and catch him." And I'm not saying try and have an incident with him, but try and make it difficult. Maybe even try and lose so much time fighting with the race lead so that Keithley gets back into things. But we're really grasping at straws at the moment here. Keithley's still around about 7 seconds behind. It's been very slow progress from that point. So the more time goes on, the more laps get in the books here, the more likely that Lerner will be able to get himself clean right until the end.
Yeah, again, what's Lerner saved as well? Has he been driving at a canter? He got into that 2-second lead at the start of this race without really having to try. Of course, the incidents behind him have really what's caused the gaps there, as we're on board then with Adam Pinches. So there's always, when it's a race room competition, ladies and gentlemen, there's always a Hungarian in the finals. It's just a fact of life. If there's no Hungarian in the final, it doesn't mean anything. That's just the way it works. And Adam Pinches is normally that Hungarian, to be fair. To be completely honest, the Hungarian revolution happening in race room right now, there are loads of them. And they are all super, super quick. So it's great to see Adam Pinches repping right at the top level of this competition this week as well. But yeah, it's been an interesting one this season. It has been, of course, Lerner and Keithley, but you take those two out the equation, and what would the points be? Between everybody, it'd be like a 7-way battle for the championship win at the end here. As we watch Pinches go for the fake, make the move up the inside towards the hairpin, and he's got it pinned. He's on the power early, and that is a beautiful overtake there. And but yeah, go back to what I was saying. If you take those two out of the championship lead here, this championship could have been 7-8 strong going into the final races.
well, Rudiger's still trying to fight this, and Vanna is looking all over the place to try and get through on this battle as well, and he has to go very, very wide here. Pince is still trying to hold on to this position he quite rightfully and skillfully gained, and he looks like he is going to be able to extend the gap despite the best efforts of Rudiger behind. But this duel is pretty exciting. Oh, big moment there for Rudiger.
Yeah, look at the lead battle, though. 0.8 of a second now for Yarshall. So Yarshall has saved something for sure near the end of this race. That is a fact. He's 1 second behind as it stands. Again, we're on lap number 11. 4 minutes, 40 seconds to go. It is not beyond the realms of possibility here, Connery, that Lerner doesn't potentially have a bit... Oh, as Yarshall there snakes out of turn number 3. And yeah, he is definitely closing in.
Yeah, he is. And... you know, it'd be an absolutely fantastic sight to see if we get to see a battle for the race lead. It's the last thing that Moritz Lerner wants. Let me tell you that. He just wants an easy race to the end with clear air ahead of him and cars not too close behind him. But Yarshall is trying his best to make the latter not the case. But meanwhile, Jonas Vanna trying to hold off the driver of Nuninghoff, as actually he's been able to gain the spot over Nuninghoff there. So Nuninghoff hemorrhaging positions here at this portion of the race.
Yeah, he certainly is. As Jonas Vanna we're watching on board with right now, looking to potentially make a move here on Rudiger. Yeah, he is. He's just in behind. No, he's not. Sorry, Nuninghoff is in behind Vanna here. As we're watching Pajic drop down the order. Again, he had a very good race in race number 2, but it's not quite worked out here in race number 3. Yarshall still closing in, by the way. So that is still a battle that we will keep our eye on for sure. Pajic just in behind Steven as it stands. Steven having a very good race number 3 here. So yeah, good stuff. So everyone's still battling for position. Doesn't matter that it's the final race, the final couple of minutes of this championship. Everybody's still trying to gain a couple of extra spots. And actually, that rear wing looks severely damaged, by the way, on Pajic's car. Looks like I've sat on it.
I'm not sure if I'm allowed to laugh at that, but there we go. Oh, Tim Yarshall's! Oh, Tim Yarshall had a big slide once again coming out of the first turn, so it seems like it's a massive problem for him, and now he might drop back into the clutches of Florian Hasse, because those tyres are going to not like that, shall we say. And Jack Keithley, P6, he's not too far away from a couple of cars ahead of him either.
Yeah, you know, just imagine Keithley gets up into maybe the 3rd spot here. Couple of mistakes from people in front, gets to 3rd. Keithley, Lerner starts to see it on his HUD. That's when the mind plays tricks on you. You need to maybe get that power down a little bit earlier than what you have been during the race. You need to get on the brakes a little bit later just to try and, extend that lead just in case Keithley has a couple of flyers. Seen it all happen before, seen these mistakes creep in. So Keithley's just got to do exactly that. He has got to try and pile on as much pressure as possible and do whatever he can out of sight of Lerner at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. It's getting to the point now where, you know, it's only a couple of minutes left remaining in the race, a couple of laps to go. And so you'll be top step of the podium. You'll have your championship trophy. Lerner, he's got to put those thoughts out of his head at the moment. It's just about getting to the checkered flag. And for Keithley, it's just remaining on the grey stuff to try and capitalize if anything happens.
Absolutely. And again, he is just clawing up the back here as we come through turn number 1, down towards turn number 2. Do you think he can get him, Connery? Do you think he can get up towards 4th?
I mean, I wouldn't put it past him. That's for certain. He certainly is a driver of the appropriate caliber to be able to pull off that feat. But a positive finish here might take the edge off the anger from the very start of the race. But I know for a fact he's still going to be severely disappointed with how the opening portions of this race went, because simply it wasn't his fault. And that's the cruelest thing, both in motorsports and in sim racing. When something's not your fault and you're put on the back foot, you might have lost the championship as a result of it. It's one of the hardest feelings to take, and it's one of the hardest things to try and bounce back from as well.
Yeah, sim races, real world motorsport races always love to have an excuse in their pocket as to why they haven't won a championship. But when they're actually presented with something genuine like this, they don't want that excuse, you know? They don't want that to have been the case. It's a really strange, not mindset. I don't know. I don't really know what I'm talking about in that regard. But yeah, he's going to be furious. Like, he would have preferred to have lost this by, I don't know, maybe his pedal didn't give 100% or something, you know, one of those sim racers excuses. The wheel just didn't feel quite warm enough. My gloves were too sweaty. You know, it's one of those rubbish sim racer excuses. But when you actually get taken out, it becomes really, really unfortunate. But Moritz Lerner we are on board then for the final lap of this race. And you can just see there, as he crossed the line, he did a big breath there. He took a bit of it, it's like a sigh almost. It was a positive sigh, but he knows he's just got to keep it on the straight and narrow. And this DTM Esports 2020 Championship will be his. He will get the trophy. He will win all of the prizes associated with this competition as well. So it comes down in towards the hairpin here. There's Moritz Lerner. He's also represented Sheldon van der Linden. Sheldon's going to be really, really happy. And there's Jack Keithley, who is in the lead of this championship by 12 points coming into this final round. He'll want to just put on a bit of a show here, a top 5 as an absolute minimum. He can see Lerner just up ahead in the road as well, so he's going to be furious. He's trying to get the power down early, as you can see, as he loses the rear ever so slightly. But we come up towards the stadium section, and if this were to be real life, the fans would now be starting to give him a little bit of a cheer on here. He'll be able to hear them. He'll be able to indeed suck in the enthusiasm from those drivers and use it for a positive. Up towards the final couple of corners they come. And well, Moritz Lerner knows now that he has got 3 corners to negotiate. This being probably the hardest of all 3. Doesn't want to be extending the track, getting any unnecessarily drive-through penalties. Through the double right-hander, he comes here then. And you can see then on his face, is he going to start to smile? He hits the apex for the final corner here at the Hockenheimring. And you can see it there, the relief. He knows that he is the DTM Esports 2020 champion. And now all of a sudden the real realization hits. And there's the real emotion there. And I tell you what I'm really proud of is that he's got dark hair on top and his beard is ginger. And that's like me, so we must be real men.
Absolutely. You can see Jack Keithley, what could have been. Coming across the line, P6 at the end. Keithley, heartbreak is the only word that I can use to describe that. It was nothing to do with him. Another driver went deep into turn 2, hit another driver that hit into him. He's so many, degrees of separation from that incident that it's a really tough one to take. So Keithley, he's going to look back on this and just say he did the best he can. There was nothing he could do in the end there, but Moritz Lerner, you could just see the elation on his face as he crossed the line there. He's usually so cool, calm, and collected. He's usually absolutely stone cold poker face, focused on what he's doing. We both commentated him before, but just to see him just break out, punch the air, sort of have his head in his hands as well. He didn't quite believe it either. Look, coming into this, he had a huge points deficit coming into today. So it's a very, very, very well-deserved championship win for Moritz Lerner.
Yeah, and I will say one thing about Moritz Lerner. As much as he is amazing, he's very gracious in defeat, but also he's very gracious in winning. And he will be the first person to console Jack, obviously, of what happened this evening, which was not his fault. But you can't take our words for it, because now we have got Thomas with one of our drivers.
Glücklich ist er, aber ey, Moritz, wir dürfen gar nicht, warte, wir müssen die Sprache wechseln. Moritz, how are you? You look so happy.
After the first race at Portimao, I was always already thinking like this is over. But yeah, I guess I put on my never give up motto again, and yeah, unfortunate for Jack. That's not how I wanted to win the championship, but it made my life a lot easier in the end. But yeah, totally happy to win it. I actually didn't expect it after the first race at all.
So how was the experience on Spielberg? You didn't say anything about it?
Yeah, sorry if I missed the interview, but after Portimao, I was just, I want to focus. No thank you to interviews. But yeah, I got pole there and was leading the race for pretty much half of the race. And then Florian started to use DRS and started to close up and fighting me, which I didn't like at first, but the battle was amazing. Like especially the last lap, it was just so much fun. And yeah, but I had to win there. It was, for me, it had to be 100% a win. Otherwise, I might not have the chance in Hockenheim to win it all.
You did obviously very great. Every strategy paid out in the end. So you are officially now the DTM champion 2020. Big congratulations personally from me, and I think always from everyone else here. Yeah, thank you for the interview.
Thank you, Thomas. Appreciate it.
So you can see he was so focused there. He didn't want to do any interviews in terms of the Red Bull Ring. which absolutely makes sense. This is a very high pressured environment. It's a fair play to him, and it boded well. He did a very good job in the Red Bull Ring, and that's where really he put himself in contention to go out and win this championship, because before the qualifying session at Red Bull Ring, didn't really have too much of a chance.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially, dropping as many points as he did in the opening round of today. It was very easy to think coming into round 2 and 3 that it was basically going to be all or nothing for Moritz Lohner, but it was all in the end, and he's able to grab the race win here in the final round of the championship, and also to grab the championship itself as well. It's a beautiful thing, and he's going to be looking back on this fondly. Of course, he gets all the prizes that we have on offer, as well as you look at the confirmation of the race results. He'll get himself medical checkup, physical training, mental training, and a drive in a professional simulator, a trophy test as well with DTM, and of course, the chance to get his real-life racing license. And to be honest, I think real-life racing will see Moritz Lohner as an absolute gift, because he's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I think he's got a huge future within the real world of motorsports as well as sim racing. Very much a James Baldwin story. I feel like he will not only take the real world by storm, but he will also continue with the sim racing, continue to be right at the top level. But as you can see that Lerner taking P1, 50 points. It was enough for him to be our DTM Esports Champion 2020. We then got Yarshall, who finishes in second position. He's on 36 points from the race, both for Team Sheldon van der Linde, which is huge for his team championship hopes. We've got the Hassa then for Team Kelvin van der Linde in third spot. Stefanko is in fourth. Emre Chihan in fifth. Then Jack Keithley, who again is going to be hard to console really in what happened in his race. Unfortunately, another P6 for him, ultimately losing the championship. Pinches, Rudinger, Nuninghoff, Vanna rounding out your top 10. It's been a fantastic race there. Again, Lerner definitely deserves it. You said before the race came in, momentum had gone his way. It looks so much like the momentum was with Keithley in terms of what was going on. But let's go and check out one of our star driver interviews.
I can.
Perfect. Nice to see you smiling. I thought, hey, why are you looking so angry? You won the team championship.
I'm not angry at all, mate, to be honest. I was just looking for my little Coke Zero that I have there to celebrate now. I'm in quite a nice little area in front of the MA GT at the BMW Motorsport headquarters. So, yeah, very nice. Congrats to the team, first of all. And, yeah, I'm just lucky, like I said, to have good teammates on my side. I think they did a brilliant job. We scored points at the right time, and yeah, very happy, of course, to win this team title for myself and for everyone else.
So your team did not only win the team championship, Moritz also win the driver championship. Now is your biggest chance to say something.
Yeah, I mean, firstly, like you said, Moritz won the drivers championship, so a big well done to him. I think he's one of the best guys on Race Room, so I didn't really expect anything different from him. Yeah, like I said, it's an honor to have Moritz, Tim, and Leonard on my team. I met these guys quite a few months ago when we started the Esports Challenge, and we went straight on Discord. We had a nice chat, and super nice guys. So very, very happy for them, happy for the team as well, like I said, and happy for BMW to finally bring this win back to Munich, like I said.
There's one question I have in mind, because I think there's a huge audience outside, lots of sim racers, which look up not only to the guys who won today, like Moritz, like Keithley, like Yarshall. They also look up to you and want to become a real racer like you are. What do you think after all the experience 2020 with sim racing? Do you think it is a possibility to get into real racing?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, anything is possible when you put your mind to it. I think sim racing's really grown. It's shown that in the last 2 or 3 years. So I think these guys really have a good chance if they just put their heads down, if they dominate like Moritz is at the moment. I think that's it's obviously a very good chance now. I think for some other championships, he got a test in a real life racing car. So that just shows what opportunities present themselves, which is obviously very good. And I can only say to the guys that follow your dreams, reach out. And I think the prizes now that they will get from Formula Medicine as well will prepare them perfectly for a real life chance in a real life race car, and just mentally and physically. So yeah, well done to them, and I think they're going to enjoy the prize that they get.
Thank you very much, Sheldon, for all the open words and especially for participating in this awesome championship. We all know that you don't have as much time as we may expect from you. So thank you.
Yeah, just one last word from me. Also, big thanks to the organizers, for everyone who basically put this championship together. I think they did an amazing job. So well done to them as well. And my hat's off to them for organizing the whole championship. Thank you very much, guys.
What a lovely message there from Sheldon. He seems really happy with what's happened here. And well, let's just summarize the championship. It's been a fantastic championship. I'm a bit lost for words. That I don't think the last lap at Spa or the last lap of Red Bull Ring is going to leave my head for a very long time. But I feel like we've had a very deserving winner in Moritz Lerner in the overall championship, and Sheldon van der Linde, Team Sheldon van der Linde, for the team championship. What are your thoughts, Connery?
Yeah, just exactly as you said it. Moritz Lerner, definitely well-deserved champion, but we all, as racing fans, would have loved to see Jack Keithley get through turn 2 fine and be able to challenge. That's what we hyped up. That's what we were waiting for. Unfortunately, it didn't happen through no fault of Jack. It has to be said, as you see the confirmation of the points on screen. But Jack, you know, he's going to feel pretty sore after, you know, for maybe even a couple of weeks, couple of months after this one. But he's definitely the kind of person that will bounce straight back after this and really take whatever he does next by the horns and wants to go chasing for glory once again. Those are the confirmation of the team points as well, with Team Sheldon coming out on top compared to Team Scherer there. So at least Lerner has that going for him. He was part of the winning team.
Yeah,
well, as well.
To be fair,
yeah,
he won the championship as well. But yeah, Keithley, of course, doing so well for Team Scherer. Rudinger being the second highest scorer for the team. Scherer, of course, came out the blocks flying, did the whole team. But it will be Team Sheldon that takes the victory. Scherer in second, Team Kelvin van der Linde in third, Team Auer is in fourth, Team Bortolotti in fifth, and then Team Glock in sixth position. And well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That is the DTM Esports 2020. I've had an absolute blast being involved in this competition again. So shout out to all of the organizers within Race Room, within DTM. It's been a fantastic opportunity. It's been great to work with you, Connery, as well. First time for us. And hopefully you've enjoyed yourself within this competition as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been brilliant. I've enjoyed working with you as well because you're so brilliant at everything. I'm just trying to stroke your ego a little bit, but there we go. But yeah, I can't wait for what's next as far as DTM and esports. If they continue on with it, you know, I would absolutely love to see more competitions like this, even bigger prizes as well. Try and match some of the other big competitions in sim racing. It has a very healthy future if they continue to pursue it.
Absolutely. Could not agree with you more. Well, there you go then, ladies and gentlemen. We have had a grand total of 9 races this season for the DTM Esports. We finished with the double points. The team champions were Team Sheldon van der Linde, but the overall champion was Moritz Lerner.